and you make the payment.
That's how you create little hookers.
That sounds. Just strap a bomb around it so you know.
Alrighty, hello and welcome to Strange Conversations, where we open with a laughter. We gather together each and every week so that we can discuss with what blah, 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 blah. I'm trying really hard to continue this, and you are not helping.
Worst opening sermon ever.
No,
It's
I
not
think
bad.
there's been worse.
Yeah, there definitely.
There have definitely been worse. Talk to you about what we feel is important, as well as discuss various topics. On my far left is
Dylan Sonat.
I'm Brent Metcalf in Changing the Fucking Flow. On my right,
Beep. John Pettit, Handsome John.
and on my other left.
Apparently, I'm last. Mark Clover.
Yeah, I'm always last. Why can't you be last?
I'm
once?
usually last.
I'm always last.
Because
I
it's
introduce
polite
myself
to
last.
introduce yourself
I don't
last.
ever count you.
I feel
'cause
like
you
this
forget your name
conversation
half the
is-
time.
It did. It happened last time. The difference is you kept forgetting to introduce yourself.
But every single week, we like to talk about random topics.
Don't talk over me.
I like to steal the thunder.
Go ahead.
Every single week, we like to talk about random things. We got topics. And we got, more importantly, what we call the important. That progresses so quickly sometimes. The first bit of news that the old handsome man over there wants to discuss is that the once formidable, very popular handsome man, Kevin Spacey, his movie did not do hot.
Not at all.
No.
It was so bad. It was only shown in 8 theaters. To be fair, it's like $53.
I didn't know he was doing a movie. Like,
Well, I mean, it was filmed
It's like one of those
a while
indie-
ago.
it's like
As a
one of
matter of
those
fact, the
indie
crew
film
didn't even
things.
know about the sexual allegations when they were filming it.
Yeah, it was filmed a couple years back, and it was an indie publisher that basically created this film. And like, oh, we're gonna put it out when Kevin Spacey's hot. Well,
Yeah. Well, it made $500 this past weekend.
yeah,
the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I mean,
Pun
they're
intended.
saying they were going to release it, and they don't want the movie to fail. He's like a secondary character in this, so they're like, there's no reason why we can't release this. It shouldn't impact it a lot, and people weren't mad about it.
No, I don't
with
think
him
it was.
being in there. So I think that was like them putting their foot in the water. They would rather, like put it out there a little bit and be like, oh, we're not going to deal with this. I don't want to deal with the backlash. We'll deal with this later.
Yeah, one of the articles I was reading was discussing how the movie he was in from Ridley Scott, I cannot remember the name of it. All the Money in the World.
Yeah.
All the Money in the World, and how he played a prominent role in that film. And Ridley Scott was like, no, we're going to spend all this money, hire Christopher Plummer, and we're going to reshoot every scene
You should have seen
to
this.
remove him. It was a ridiculous amount of cash.
At the comments at the end of that by the writer. They're like, why didn't you replace Wahlberg too? That was the saddest performance I've ever seen. I was like, oh my God, and a Wahlberg. Wahlberg burn.
But obviously not everyone can afford that kind of changing it. So
Ridley Scott got
What
some
I really
deep
wish,
pockets.
I wish they would show. I wish Netflix would show it, but they probably obviously never would. But I wish you could see the difference in House of Cards viewership.
yeah,
pre
that
and post.
would be really interesting, especially
Because
They're
it
ending
may
it,
go
though.
up.
I mean, it's especially the final season's coming this fall. It's
Yeah.
in October.
But it's
whether
the
it
only
is.
one that you're going to be able to really get data on that on.
Yeah.
Well,
they
I'm
are
saying
ending
like
it.
after the announcement, seeing like this House of Cards just like tank or people stop watching.
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna watch it because I do enjoy the
He's
story.
not in it. They just killed him off, I guess. or
So
whatever
the
they're doing.
where season 5 leaves off, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It's the perfect play because he is in a position where he literally doesn't have to be on the screen at all, and his actions and his prominence still matter. This is going to be focused entirely on Robin Wright and her character, which works really well for where they ended it.
Yeah.
I am very excited to see what they do with it, and I was excited before the whole hullabaloo to begin with.
Yeah.
because it was a very cool way to take a character that we thought was going to be on top forever and just be like, and guess what?
I mean, one of my all-time favorite actors.
Yeah.
And some in most of my all-time favorite movies, and to see that actually crushed me. But at the same time, like, there's been studies going out saying that a lot of the Me Too movement, male actors are being easily forgiven in the eyes of the public, and it's not.
It'll happen for some and not for others, and
Yeah.
he didn't help himself either.
No, dude.
no
he was,
favors to
This is
himself.
his interview. Yeah, I did it. Fuck you.
No, he was like, yeah, I did it, but I'm gay, and I'm telling the world now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, it
No,
wasn't
no, no,
that. His
I know, I'm
attitude
fine.
was just like, I
I'm
couldn't
fine,
care
I've been telling
less.
everybody that for a long time. That's not the no.
Yeah, that's not the
that's
issue
not the
here.
problem.
But like he was, even Netflix has shown, like, with them changing the place cards and stuff like that. Anything with his face on it was gone.
Well, and they're standing on the same stance that this publisher or producer did when they released the film, which is, he's not the only individual involved in this. There were hundreds of thousands of people that come together for, House of Cards, and then for this little movie, there's still hundreds of people that got involved. Yeah. They deserve to have that recognition.
It was like Billionaire Boys or something like that.
You know who doesn't deserve recognition? The monsters who created Death Note.
Oh my God!
And the fact that they're doing it again.
They're doing a sequel for this, and I don't know if is William Dafoe supposed to be like, yeah, let's do this after the backlash, but apparently it was a success for Netflix.
I don't know how Netflix has a success. I mean, I don't disagree that there's like semantics of viewership and whatnot, but like if a movie goes to the box office and it pulls $100 million, that's a success. Cool, it got money. On Netflix, like whether it's viewed 100 million times or viewed one time, what does it push subscriptions?
So
did Death Note really sell Netflix subscriptions?
And that's the question: is does Death Note alone bring it in? Probably not. But movies like Death Note and other attractions do. Plus, they do sell DVDs. This is weird, but you can buy House of Cards on DVD or Blu-ray the entire seasons. Like
that's not a bad idea.
It's a series.
They probably sold as many copies of House of Cards on DVD as watched Kevin Spacey's movie last weekend.
No, it's surprising the number of people who buy that.
For House of Cards, absolutely.
When's the last time anyone at the table bought a DVD?
Recently, I bought a Blu-ray for a Studio Ghibli film.
Matter of fact, yeah, you bought the Fireflies.
No, I bought Prince Mononoke. I will not be buying Pretty Great with the Fireflies.
That, by the way, is the most depressing movie I've ever seen in my life.
Terribly depressing.
I wanted to cry for real.
Very
and
frustrating.
I don't cry on things like that. Was just sad.
This is segueing quite a bit.
I went to ballpark last time I bought a DVD was 2007.
Yeah, I buy DVDs and Blu-rays often enough, I guess.
He doesn't watch movies, so.
Well, I buy collector set. I got the Batman collector set.
There you go. That's a good one.
I'll probably get the Marvel Cinematic Universe collector set. That'll probably be $1,000, but I'll get that. In 3 years.
You open it, it's got the glove.
The last DVD set I got was Cowboy Bebop because of that little box set thing.
Really, that's real neat.
I wanted to note that there are people who did like that film.
Yep. I didn't watch it.
So it is, in my eyes, a god-awful movie. Yep. But the way a lot of people looked at it...
Was this the one in San Fran, Tokyo, or is this...
Yes. Okay. This a lot of people looked at it as almost like an homage to 80s love flicks, like The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles, which it very much is reminiscent of with the veneer of Death Note. The problem is that they took all the source material and just made it god awful.
So they just tore it up into pieces and then pooped on it.
Essentially, anyone who doesn't care about Death Note, it's like, yeah, it's fine. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I also think they could have filmed that from such a unique perspective. I wish they would have tried to film that from either L's perspective, or just because like you really don't know who it is. Like the whole film, you're like, is that him or is that him?
You could turn that into a detective series from L's perspective, in which these people are just dying, and you don't have to mark it as a Death Note.
Nope.
That's the twist.
Exactly.
It's like, oh my God, this is Death Note.
It's like the Book of Eli. Like how I had no idea going into that movie, and then when I got to the end, I was like, oh God, I got to rewatch this right now. The next little bit of news that we had, however, is that Ubisoft has declared that they're not going to be a cash cow every year.
The only reason that this is even really news is that it is just tantamount to prove that Ubisoft is actually listening to the consumer base. That between 2007 and 2015, there was a Assassin's Creed game every year. Bam, bam, bam. They were just pushing it out, and then stuff happened like Unity and Rogue, which it was honestly just like a rehash of, in my opinion, to Black Flag that didn't need to be.
Rogue is fun. Yeah, Rogue is fun and tells a very interesting story.
But I felt like they just one maybe method was on PS3. It wasn't on PS4.
It's on PS4 now.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of things on PS4 I need to play.
I know.
But it's just tantamount to show that they're not worried about pushing a game out every year. They're willing to do it right. They put out Origins, and they said that just based on the timing, that it's a year-to-year thing right now because of the way that the games were finished by.
Yeah.
But they're not pushing it a year-to-year basis.
Yeah.
Which is good because they need to, because it's proven that it's working.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a story because of the fact that they were releasing so long annually. Then they came out and said there won't be one this year, and everyone's like, what? Then Origins came and like, so we're not getting this annually, right? And they're like, and next year's Odyssey. And everyone's like, wait, I thought we were getting this annually. So
it was ready. It just happens to be that way right now.
They also mentioned that Odyssey is going to get a ton of updates, all free, well, mixed free and pay, but they're basically going to keep it live for the next year.
Yeah, that's their point, is to be a little bit more of a service too for the Assassin's Creed fans. I haven't been all that impressed with their DLC over time. I didn't get to play the Origins DLC.
I really hope the DLC where the face textures loads free this time. That'd be great.
That was an issue in Origins, believe it or not.
Yeah. Which one was that?
That was Unity.
Okay.
God awful.
Unity was just trash.
That was a multiplayer one, right?
Yeah, you were able to play missions online.
It was a very cool concept, and I wish with their experience in open world and interacting to a degree with that online aspect with like Division, and we see a little bit in Watch Dogs, I would love for an actual Assassin's Creed where it is you could take stuff on, because this is definitely moving away from core stealth gameplay and more moving into like an action RPG. I feel like as you progress the systems and make them a little bit more robust, if you handle it right, it should be feasible.
Far Cry is perfect. I mean, that's literally the proof in the pudding that they're able to do a co-op game. I mean, me and Brian freaking killed Far Cry 5 to death.
Yeah.
Actually, a couple times because we did both.
To his death, because he's dead now. I know. You killed him with Far Cry 5.
I beat the game to death.
Well, the next little bit of news that we had is, speaking of death, they must always kill a Bond. So they must get a new Bond. And who's that new Bond going to be, Brent?
Idris Elba.
No,
he's not. He's not.
He would be an awesome Bond.
It makes me super sad. The director for the newest Bond recently quit the project, and so it's kind of been up in the air as to, is Daniel Craig on? Is he off? What are they doing? The director left. Danny Boyle is his name. He left because of creative differences on how they wanted to handle the villain, which, if I remember correctly, he actually did Spectre as well, and got a lot of flack for how that villain was handled, which annoys me because it was a great build-up, and then the ending was just like, eh. I'm like, you could have done better. But Daniel Craig's also talked over and over again about how he's done. Like, he does not want to be involved in these films anymore. He was reportedly not coming back for Bond 25, and then they threw a boatload of cash at him. He's like, well, I might come back.
Well, he's talked about repeatedly how much wear and tear it puts on his body.
And he's surprisingly old for how he looks. He's like,
and he's got to stay in that shape, too.
Correct.
Like, that's not going to be easy.
And so
not without some help.
The internet as a whole seems to have landed on wanting Idris Elba to be there. Idris Elba has also expressed interest, but it seems that once again it's passed him by. And I don't only want to talk about it because I want Idris Elba as Bond.
For me, I think the difference between Bond and 007 is worth noting for me. Like, I have no issue with it being Idris Elba. My issue is more so, like, I think that the franchise would be done a lot of justice if you separated these into 007. Because, like, the agent can be anyone. Yes. It doesn't have to be James Bond.
That's the problem, is that in recent films, they destroyed that kind of canon. Yeah. And so I agree with you. I loved the idea because we got Casino Royale, which had Daniel Craig, his first outing, and he had blonde hair. And everyone's like, Bond doesn't have blonde hair. This is crazy. Oh, it's just a code name. And then, like, no, his name's James Bond. His parents were Bonds. And it's like, you had an out. You could have just milked this franchise for years with various actors, and it wouldn't matter. Now, the problem is everyone wants continuity and everything these days.
That's dumb. You shouldn't need that.
It is dumb. I agree, but it's what the masses want. You know, why not build that continuity in?
They don't know what they want.
They don't.
You don't know what you want. The next little bit of news we had is that the Monument Valley. I don't know why I always call it Monumental Valley. I guess because it's so monumental in my heart as a mobile game. But they are finally going to be turning. Is this series going into a movie?
So just
the director.
So the game itself is going to be made into a film. It's going to be a mixture of CGI and live action, which is intriguing in and of itself.
I'm excited.
I am excited as well.
How's the perspective going to work? I just want to know how it's filmed. That's all I want to know.
Completely, like, far back.
All the time.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because it is such, I mean, the game is wonderful, but it's not very big. There's not a whole lot to it.
Nope.
So, like, extrapolating that into something that's worth visiting on a film for an hour and a half is going to be very interesting.
For me, like, when I first heard this, I thought about how, no offense to the game at all in the slightest, But I feel like Fez would have been such a more like well-suited game for this because Fez kind of has its storyline, right? Whereas this has always been more of like, I guess I never really felt the story care. Like it's cool, it's fun to play, it's a really cool puzzle game, I really like it. But like Fez just seemed like same kind of view, same kind of perspective, but like I feel like that has a better story line for a movie.
I feel like the second one's got a better story than the first did, though. I mean, I feel like it's more in tune with about, like the little girl growing up anyway, and sort of, I guess, coming back to her mother, essentially.
And
like,
that... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, I'm excited to see this happen, but I guess I get it. With the first one anyway, to me, it didn't feel like there was much of a story, but there was sort of a plot to it, but it seemed like maybe the quotes were a little too cryptic for me. I couldn't quite bridge the gap of like, okay, well, I get to this and it says something, and I get to this and it says something else. And I'm like, what?
And I mean, it is on mobile, so how hard are you tapping the screen to get by it?
I do think that you're right in the second one having more story context. It's probably what they're going to like drive from a lot and just carry that mysticism along. I think Fez would make an interesting story, but losing the ability to change perspective, I think, really would take away from what makes Fez special.
Yeah, 100%. And it would be so, I don't know, it'd be so weird.
Yeah.
Also, you'd get what's the hat guy's name that makes the game?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever his name is. He's a baller. The next bit of news that we had to cover from, I believe it was released at Gamescom, but it is not at Gamescom.
It was before.
Before Gamescom, is God of War getting New Game Plus.
So it's not just getting New Game Plus, it's that it is out now and the way it has changed the game. And I was talking about it a little bit before the show, because quite honestly, I forgot this was a news topic. I would have held myself. But it is interesting because you get to carry over everything, and no spoilers here, but there's like specific weapons and gear that you pick up along the way that you also get to have from the start. So that changes gameplay on how players handle certain situations, which is super nice. They changed the enemy rotation, so when you enter new areas, it's going to be completely different than the first time. Old enemies you came across have different ways of attacking and handling you, so you have to relearn patterns.
Almost like they could have done it the first time.
I mean, yes and no. I think it's fine because
I think it's cool.
It keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
And then they also allow all your gear to be upgraded again. So you get to get this new upgrade material. Apparently, they made the Valkyries way harder than last time.
Oh, hooray.
Yeah, like there's a lot to it. So people are going through, and much like any major game, you get to watch social media. And it is really exciting having completed the game and feeling so close to it, watching people like, oh, I did this with this weapon, or I got this upgrade this early and came across this enemy here. I'm like, oh, this is really cool.
I really liked your play on word there of how the weapon upgrade really changes the gameplay a little bit. I like the minute pun there. Appreciate it.
She who will not be named.
Yeah.
God. I had to beat that
Also
on
God,
easy.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all dead.
Yeah, they are all done.
Well,
Thank you, Kratos.
So
Still need to beat
if
that.
you love the game,
Jesus Christ.
I didn't say anything.
No, I'm saying I still need to beat that. It's been like
you need
I
to
feel
so
like-
you
I
need
was like, I didn't spoil
you need
it.
to fight who will not be named. If you love the game, you should definitely go back and pick it up. I've actually debated after Spider-Man of picking it up and just kind of playing through it because there's not really a whole lot for me for the rest of the year. I know
What?
I'm not that interested in Red Dead. Dun dun dun. Because
Spider-Man?
I'm after Spider-Man is what I said.
Yeah. Okay. You have nothing else?
Not. I mean, Assassin's Creed, but Brianna's gonna be playing, so I'm just gonna wait until she's done.
no Smash.
Yeah.
Nah, he don't
I
care
mean,
about that. I do.
You'll get it, but that's it.
I'll be
I won't get it
smashing
at launch
Smash.
either because I've got a wedding to pay for.
Me
You
smash.
just get it when it comes on like the $15.99 sale.
I'm
It'll
like,
never go
oh,
on.
there you go. Boom. $25 is fine with me.
Maybe a dream Nintendo does that.
I don't think you'll ever see that game go on sale.
I was because we were thinking about playing zombies. This is a real quick tangent on sales of games. Me and my buddy Brandon were talking about going to replay all the zombies because they're like, oh, the new Call of Duty's coming out. It's another Blackout.
Yeah.
Or Black Ops. We should go replay all the zombies. I was like, oh, we got to get a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. And then because I saw the DLC on there, and I was like, oh, that'll be easy. And I was like, nah, you know what? It's got to be dirt cheap on PC. We can just buy it on PC. Black Ops 1 is $40. Black Ops 2 and 3 are both still $60, and the DLC is not bundled in any way. They're all $15 a pop.
Yep.
What? People are still playing on PS4 servers. No,
PS3.
PlayStation 3 servers
Yeah.
for Black Ops 2 and Xbox 360.
I totally want to because I want to go back and redo all the zombie maps, but now I don't want to. I don't have my PlayStation 3 here, and I got to go home with my parents to get that, and it's a lot.
I've got one. I don't use.
I was about to say we can negotiate paperweight for paperweight.
Oh yeah, take away
It's not a paperweight. He is cold. It was cold.
But moving on to the next little bit of news that we had in, I was trying to find a fun segue here, but they're just not that
Segues aren't that fun, apparently.
And that is that it's a really weird scenario. I'll let Mark take over for a moment, but I hate the whole scenario. But basically, Google found an exploit in the Fortnite launcher, which was already patched by the time they announced it. But
here's the thing. It's not Google's the problem here isn't necessarily that Google found the issue. They very silently told Epic, "Hey, here's this issue. You might want to fix that." That kind of thing. Even though they're not making any money off of it, cool. Whatever And Epic's like, "Cool. Do you mind not telling anybody about this until we fully get it released and everything like that?" And they were like, "Hey, everybody."
Well, no, they did. They waited until they patched it. So they patched it, and
they
then
waited
Google
it.
announced
10
afterwards.
days.
The idea was that, but the problem is that Epic was still upset because they still released the information, I guess, either ahead of time or released it, period.
They weren't able to release it themselves.
Yeah, Epic wanted to release it themselves, and Google basically was like, Epic said, "Don't release it until we're fix
ready."
it."
Yeah.
Right.
And Google's like,
Well,
they fixed it.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, they're fucking idiots.
Yeah. To be fair though, because they're not on Google Play Store or anything like that, it's not like they can just sort of publish updates anyway to the app as they would on the Play Store. So they have to have their own self-updating launch ready for this. So the problem is they have to patch any holes in this self-updating installer that's there. So the issue is when Google finds this and they're like, "Hey, you don't mind being quiet about this?" And Google's just like, "Nah, we're gonna make this sort of a PR stunt here." And like,
Well, I mean,
I thought it was really dumb because to me it's super petty because the one thing they asked Google to do, Google did it, and it's like one they also told you because apparently I don't know all of the information. Obviously, Google and their employees could be totally lying, but from what the Google employees said, they basically were like, "Hey, this is what's wrong, and this is how you fix it."
Yep.
And they're like, "Cool. Will you not tell anybody until we fix it?" And they're like, "Sure." They fix it, and they're like, "By the way, they're idiots." And then they were like, "Oh, well, you said you weren't going to tell anybody." And they're like, "No, we did not agree to that."
Yeah.
Also, we didn't even have to wait or tell you how to fix it.
Yeah.
None of those were options we had to do.
We could have just gone straight to the public if we wanted to.
I have to say, if you're gonna poop on someone's porch, I was trying to save you an edit. If you're gonna poop on someone's porch, don't expect them to smile at you later when they find you doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how I feel too. I was like, they're allowed to. They didn't have to wait at all. They could have just been like, "Guess what?"
They
You're screwing them out of millions of dollars, and you're like, "Be nice."
I'm really curious, and I just want to see, they're never going to release these stats because it's the world that I want, and it's never going to happen. But I just wish they would show the downloads because, I feel as if it has to not be great because I just don't feel that many people will be confident going to a website and downloading something.
I think more people.
I think because it is Fortnite, it's going to be a lot. But,
well,
I don't think it'll pass. I don't even think it'll pass Apple player base. Apple actual player base is 1/5 the size.
The other problem too is they still have it restricted on phones.
What do you mean?
It's still only available on select Samsung phones.
It's only available on Oreo phones. It was only Samsung for a week.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was
So it's
only
all
Samsung.
Oreo.
Oh.
If
Anyway,
they make the
still.
pathway easy for people to follow, they'll do it.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Could you please want me to have student loan debt?
Could I please want you?
Yeah, because apparently whatever you want doesn't happen.
Bam!
Oh, okay.
You have it.
The next little bit of news, speaking of wanting, is I'm certain that a lot of T-Mobile customers didn't want their information to get breached. But
Segues are fun.
we don't live in that world.
Yep.
Yeah. So T-Mobile apparently caught in the middle of the breach, in the middle of whoever it was
Pants
exporting the data.
Pants on the ground.
They got about 2 million customers' personal information. No financial data.
Okay.
No financial data, but it was names, addresses, phone numbers, and I guess certain billing information, but nothing actual.
Like house,
No
zip
actual
code,
financial
phone
data.
number, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Just the
But,
good stuff that spammers could send you mail. to.
Yeah, exactly.
Just stuff that's annoying you.
Yeah, exactly.
Forever and ever.
Yep. No, but they're. I don't think they're really getting a whole lot of backlash about this. But the funny part to me is you caught it in the middle of the act. Somebody somewhere was like, "Hey, there's tons of data going out. All right, yeah, let's turn it off."
Well, I don't think it's really well known because I didn't know about it until we were reading our little
It's like
summarization.
200 people use T-Mobile now.
Oh, burn.
Why?
Well, AT&T did want to buy them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I mean, what the T-Mobile what is their deal right now? Is it the unlimited?
Someone
plan?
bought Sprint.
The big thing about T-Mobile is they actually have a true unlimited plan, no throttling, none of that crap. But now
I thought their speeds are crap though.
Yeah. But the problem is the other
That's
problem.
not good.
The other
It's
problem
gotta
is
be
it
good
costs.
enough.
The other problem is it costs you like $90 a month.
That's like we're not gonna put
For
a
a single
governor on your car, but it only goes 55.
But hey, their CEO wants to be Batman, so that's cool.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you just look at his Twitter account. It's fine. All I imagine is that there's like one of the 200 people who still use T-Mobile is like opens up
Hey,
the email the
man.
next day, and it's just a bunch of spam. They're like, "Damn you, T-Mobile!"
But yeah, they said they're in the middle of. If you're a T-Mobile customer and you should be getting a notification sometime by the end of this week, I guess, to about the data breach and whether or not you were involved in
I was
it.
about to say, did they get notified yet?
They're notifying the customers, but they did put out a mass notification that, hey, by the way, this happened. So.
The next little bit of news that we had, which we were all hoping we'd get a notification last week at Gamescom, but we were let down. Xbox's imminent subscription service.
So for $21.99 a month, you can
I thought it
get
was
it
more than that.
for the base tier.
For the base. Yeah.
For
Got
the
it.
Xbox, you can get an
S.
Xbox One S, Live Gold,
Mm-hmm.
and Xbox was
Game
it
Pass.
Game
Game
Pass.
$22
for
bucks.
$22 a month.
I just want to know, I did not see the price at all because I'm lazy and I guess I didn't click that article. But my guess was $20. I was like, it's gonna start at like $20 to $35 bucks.
So actually, a funny part about that is if you want to upgrade to the Xbox One X, it's $35 a month.
Yeah, there it is.
$4.99.
It's the 35. That's the number I heard. If you do the math for either tier, it equates to going out and buying an Xbox or Xbox One X and then getting the stuff for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's not saving any money, but it's also not costing more money, which is fine.
I mean, if you
Wait,
don't,
wait, so
if you
it
don't
takes
already,
you 2 years to break even.
correct.
Okay.
All right. So explain the service.
So you basically give them $22 a month. I'm gonna assume they mail you an Xbox One.
Isn't
X.
this
actually,
Mark's
you can
news?
Yeah.
you can only go to a Microsoft store to do this.
It was a
currently.
Microsoft store or a authorized.
They're working on that. They
Yeah.
haven't gotten there yet. But yes, the idea is that right now, as it stands, you can only go into a Microsoft store where they sell Surfaces and Xboxes and that kind of thing, or you can go into, or soon you'll be able to go into an authorized PC sales store and purchase this. Like I'm assuming, like a
I'm assuming GameStop would have to be
Tiger
part of
Max
this.
store. if they
I would
have-
assume GameStop
they
and Best
have-
Buy
they
are
have
probably
physical stores
dreaming of
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
I'm just coming off
Okay,
the top of my
good.
head.
Come to my store.
me your
I don't know if PC stores still exist, to be honest.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, I can't imagine there's a PC store that exists.
Yeah,
Why
I
not
don't-
do Best Buy?
I would say Best Buy would be the logical choice
GameStop,
for
yeah.
me to do this. Like,
The big thing that I don't know if it said this in there as well, because like I said, I did not read the same article.
Walmart.
I guess. I wonder how the trade-in process is going to be. Like when you're done with your thing, like I
mean,
don't want
it's
this
a-
subscription anymore.
it's a subscription, so I'd imagine you'd be like, I'd be done.
Now they did say
No, right.
on
Here's
the
the
on
con-
the
oh, well,
stuff
yeah, I
that
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, your
How they-
Xbox is broken. You can't turn
Oh.
this back in.
no, I don't know if the warranty would be extended or covered after the 1 year normal warranty. It's
Well,
only
yeah,
1 year.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying like a normal warranty. Like, what if you just
But-
like Gronk spike your controller and they're like, we gave you a white controller, this is a green one. Well,
No, I
You
think-
don't-
I'm assuming they have some sort of price anyway that you have to pay for a
You're
new
on
product
contract.
to replace it.
Yeah, it's a contract, and you don't turn it in when you're done. You're paying to own the console.
It's like paying to own like
Yeah.
24 months.
that's not a
Okay.
subscription
The
service.
article I read did not say anything about
Yeah,
that.
it's been verified after the fact. Is that the whole point is that you're paying a fee, like whatever the cost would be if you split up the
You're just
payments
doing a
across.
zero
It's a
interest
payment
loan.
plan.
Correct.
That's not a
Correct. Yeah.
subscription
Which,
service.
by the way, you don't
That's a
pay
loan.
any
subscription-
interest only if you
it's-
finish it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the idea is, I guess you can still turn it in early if you don't want to pay for it anymore.
that and you subscribe to Gold and games, whatever.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
could you? I don't either.
I
Because
would
what
much
happens with
rather-
all those Xboxes that are used that do get turned in
No,
that
the
they
reason,
didn't
You start
continue?
well, I'm gonna say the
integrated
reason that I
with
saw
Games
that
Pass.
they're trying to push this
Yeah, there you
heavily
go.
is because
Game-
they
it's easy
seemingly
to
have
do.
a pile of Xboxes that nobody wants right now.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Paperweights.
Yeah,
all the way
paperweights.
down.
It's not a bad consumer move in the sense that I'm sure there are individuals who can't afford to drop a lump sum of $500, but could easily pick
yeah.
up $22 a month.
They're the only ones doing it.
To be fair, yeah, every company I feel like that sells some sort of expensive product. I mean, you can finance just about everything. You can,
Yeah.
Like the S9 Plus, any of the Google phones now, Google does financing through banks. Like you can finance just about everything. It makes sense for them to do this, actually.
And as a parent, like if you have a teenager who's like, "Mom, I want an Xbox," you're like, "Okay, well, guess what? You have to make $22 a month, and you make the payment."
That's how you create little hookers.
That's not how you create hookers. What is wrong with They mow lawns. What did you do when you were a kid for money? But I, mean, I think it's an easy
Hard left.
solution for a lot of inconveniences, and this is an easy way to tell individuals like, "Oh, you don't want to drop $1,000 for this system." Totally understandable. But what about $20 a month?
Yeah, see, for me, once again, a lot of this is new information to me. So my initial thought was like, oh, cool, the subscription service. And it's like, oh, yeah, the Xbox 2 really kind of, maybe we'll go back to 361 naming convention.
I hope so.
But that comes out, and it's like, cool, well, you just ship us your old one, you keep paying your $22 a month, and we'll ship you the new. And that's kind of how I thought with subscription service. I was like, you know what, that could be cool. Because, you know, in like 2 years, you will be losing money. But you know what, maybe I only want to play it in the fall. Maybe I only want it for 4 months. Or maybe, hey, I'm a summer kid. Play it for my 4 months over the summer, send that thing back.
Well, as you say, I think that's going to be the play here because the idea is if it is rent to own, the Xbox 2 or whatever will probably come out within the next 2 years. I'm going to say probably at the near the end of that 2-year
there
cycle.
You go.
You mean like near the end of 2019?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they're supposed to be
It could dip into 2020.
They're supposed to be on contract to buy it, and if you miss payments or you don't pay it within the 24 months, you pay the
Master
you do
Chief
pay
shows
it.
But the
up at
idea
your
is that
house
they get to
and
that point
beats you and takes it.
before you actually get to the point of finishing the payments to own it. They could say, "Hey, here's an Xbox 2. If you trade your other one in, we'll give you this. You just pick up, your payments or whatever, and we'll put you back at this level, and then, you'll pay it up to this point."
Yeah, they could do a number of things. They could even go out and say, "Hey, you were part of this payment program, so we're going to offer you a 10% discount." Like, I mean, it can become a rewards program for individuals who are continuing to go into it. So I think it's a smart play. It's just very bizarre for the console market.
They just want to get into
not
people's
something
hands.
expected. It makes sense.
It's like all those people. It's like I can't justify. It's like you can't justify, Netflix a month. It's like,
I mean,
why not?
I mean, when you
payment, sure.
it even got me thinking. I was like, even for the 3 games I want to play, I'm like, that's not
$22 a month doesn't seem that bad, does it?
So I mean, at the same time, even for a brick, but I'm like, I have friends who don't want to play with the brick, so I'll play with the brick.
Yeah. I mean, it's a...
And if I get bored of the brick, I'll play the Xbox.
See, I just have enough friends anyway with paperweights that I could just be like, "Hey, can I borrow that?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah, pretty much. The next little bit of news we had is last week on the 23rd, I believe it was, DJI announced their new drones. They got 2 new variants. They have the DJI Mavic 2 Zoom, the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. These are more expensive than the other ones. I think it's $1,250 and $1,500 are the prices of the 2.
Was this the one that was dropped and then they pulled it off the website?
It's the one where the whatever big British company leaked the whole ad for it like a month and a half early. It's that one. And it's pretty much exactly what the ad showed. The Pro has a full 1-inch sensor, which has a whole bunch of it's amazing camera quality for those of you camera nerds. And then the Zoom has a zoom lens, and it's $250 less. Battery life seemingly is up to about 31 minutes. Obviously, that's not been tested yet. Still compact and small and neat and everything like that. A little bit quieter. Just cool. DJI is kind of like I think Casey Neistat kind of said it best in his review of it. And it definitely feels true of it's no longer which drone do you buy. It's which DJI product do you get. And it just feels like that's how it is. It's like, I don't really need to look at other drones because they're just always the best now, it seems, and nobody competes with them.
Yeah. So it hasn't been reviewed yet?
Yeah, a lot of people got them, I guess, the old day or two early. And, I mean, it seems super solid, just like all the others.
Yeah,
it's like a 2-year leap in technology, and it's just very odd because, like, in every other market we see so much competition, but Unitech's kind of their biggest competitor, and their drones are just a solid step behind. And it's like,
what's the price on for any one of those?
Yeah,
it's $1,249 for the Zoom and $1,499 for the Pro.
Pocket change.
I think that's the reason why. I mean,
well,
granted,
that's a new slot for them because the Spark is I think $400. The Mavic Air, which is the little guy, is I think $600 or $700. Then the original Mavic now is I think $900, and then it's $1,250, $1,500. Then they have the Phantom 4 Pro Obsidian Edition, which is $1,500. It's the same price, but it doesn't fold down and stuff, but it's a way better picture quality, but it's a big fat camera.
I think part of it is like the drone marketplace itself has gone through some weird ups and downs just because of like legislation and all these rumors of what was going to happen with Amazon and other companies. That put lawmakers in a weird tight bind where they're like, well, we got to do something about this now. So I think as time progresses, you'll see another company try and rise and meet them. But for the time being, the marketplace is small. It's kind of like VR. Like there's not enough space for another VR platform holder right now. So where it is at the time being is probably where it's going to be until that avenue opens up and it's easier for everyone to get a hold of it.
Technology,
Yeah, better tech is going to be what it's going to be.
Yep. The next little bit of news that we had is that OpenAI, which we've talked about a couple different times here, they got to play the pros at the Dota International. The Dota International, as a side note, ended last weekend. OG took home, I think first place was $11 million total prize pool, over $25 million for tournament.
Who's OG?
OG. I have no idea what
OG Kush.
They just call them OG. It's really weird. It's Red Bull's team. It's like kind of a Cinderella run. They apparently formed their team right before qualifiers and kind of snuck in and won the whole thing.
Nice.
Wow. Pretty cool run for $11 million. Seems like it's a great day. A great week.
Mom said I'd never amount to nothing playing these video games.
Well, this $2 million check. But so OpenAI is the thing we talked about before. They've been trying to beat Dota. They want to beat the pros. That was their goal, and they did not succeed, unfortunately. Pain Gaming, which was the esports organization they went up against, they lost 2 in a best 2 out of 3 series. They lost 2 out of 3, both the games they played. It's still freakishly impressive, and it's still disturbing how competitive it was, because like the game is so complex. The meta consistently changes, and it's ever evolving. So like, as a person, I can be like, hey, by the way, this one ability changed like this, so you got to do this thing a little different. Whereas like you have to program a computer that has to know how to use that and then defend against it. So it's still really impressive, but they did lose.
It's not even that far. You have to program it to learn how to do that.
Yeah, right.
On the fly. Like, hey, this is a new situation. How do I handle that? Oh, okay.
The fact that it was a challenge is spectacular.
Yeah, and I mean, they did lose this year. However, they were saying in the little thing I was watching about it, they're like, yeah, they probably have lost for the last time. And it's like, that's what's alarming.
Wow.
That's what they said at the beginning of Terminator.
That's how the world was started. The last little bit of news we had is a not so optimistic piece of news, which I'm certain that you probably all have seen. We just wanted to mention briefly. Basically, over the weekend at a Madden qualifier event, one of the contestants was eliminated from the event and decided to, I guess, get violent and shot another one of the contestants, a second contestant. Shot 2 other contestants fatally, and then the third person, I'm not certain if they were a contestant or not, before taking his own life and injuring, I think, 11 other people in the process. I think it was 14 bystanders and contestants were injured and or killed, and then the assailant killed himself at the end. It's very unfortunate.
Condolences to those involved, by the way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
It is something that I did say it on Twitter as well, and I retweeted a couple other people. I competed in Call of Duty for a little while and traveled to a whole bunch of events. And when you play Call of Duty, you always have your headphones, you always have your controller, and then I used to have a playbook and some other stuff like that. And you always have it in your book bag. And in hindsight, no one ever checks your book bag. So it is somewhat of a, unfortunately, rude awakening, but I do hope that this is a note that the esports community kind of takes and ramps up security, because that's something that when I was playing, I never thought about it. It's like, oh, I got my controller and my headphones in a bag, whatever. Like, you obviously know that, so I'm going to walk into this event and play. Whereas now it's like, no, you should probably check those bags.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the days of not thinking about it have gone well away.
Yeah. I thought that was something standard. I figured he had to hide it and slip it in somehow. Like he ran in a back door.
What's weird as well is this event was somewhat of an exception because it wasn't like a game bar. I'm gonna assume like an Abrari type place, which is a place around here. But it seemingly was like some type of like game bar / cafe. There was like a shopping concourse. So I'm gonna assume anyone could have walked in anyway. It was just happening. Yeah. But as a whole, granted, I've been to like the League of Legends semifinals a few years ago. And that was in Madison Square Gardens. Obviously, there's security at Madison Square Gardens, so that one was fine. But, like, a lot of the Call of Duty events and whatnot, it's like they check your badge and that's it, and you walk in. Yeah. So it's like a lot of those scenarios is like, hey, guys, we should take this real seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand how that runs through someone's mind like that.
It is very
And it actually makes me wonder, like, what if this happened at a Call of Duty event?
I think for the PR,
I
don't want this to ever sound like I would wish this upon anyone, but for the sake of, like, esports and gaming, like, we're very fortunate it was a sports game.
Yeah.
Because if it would have been Halo or Call of Duty or
anything involving
Counter-Strike or any shooters.
There's already spin trying to point it that it is video games, despite the fact that it...
Because that would confirm Trump.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it was very obvious that there are other contestants that lost and they didn't result in this. This is one individual who...
On top of that, how many people lose a football game and then go to their car and get a gun and shoot the other football players?
Yeah.
Like, this is a football game. It's not like... Either way, it's a travesty, and it's something that we hope never happens again.
Agreed.
Yep. But that is the section that we like to call
the important.
We just accepted we're going to all copy this from here on out.
Go straight from the fire into the fire with John's topic.
What? Straight into the fire?
Brimstone.
So Verizon had decided to throttle the firefighters that were on the mountain risking
That
their
was
lives
a
trying to.
fantastic segue.
I have a problem with the way that companies look at throttling and the way they do it in general. I do agree that if you are in an emergency case scenario, whether EMS, police, firefighter, you're I don't know why we don't, but everything should be on a limitless unthrottling plan. There should be an agreement amongst with AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, whoever that they're going with, that they also compete, by the way, for these contracts. I mean, we're paying millions upon millions of dollars for these contracts to these individuals.
They announced after this was leaked out that they're moving to a limitless plan for all EMS.
I would say they even preemptively did it for, I guess, Hawaii's emergency
Hurricane.
services anyway for them,
Which is good. But at the same time, like, I just, I have people who work in this industry, and a lot of their attitudes are, why didn't they go with this to begin with? I mean, they knew what they were getting into. This isn't their first forest fire. I mean, why are they? Why would they not do that? I'm like, all right. So here's my problem. If you guys were going into this, there should have been a thought of, okay, we're not going to put like, hey, you can be throttled if you do this. Was that even brought up? One.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, if they're calling saying, hey, what's going on, you should probably change it, at least for the time being, and then rediscuss your contract to save lives.
Yeah, because from my understanding, this isn't like it was their personal cell phones. This is a contract they had with the fire department, who are all working to try and handle this atrocious fire that's going on over there.
World record breaking, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I feel like that's every year in California now. But
Yeah, it definitely feels that way.
Been that way.
But what I find very odd about this, and when I first read into it, like, I guess me being like a tech nerd was like, well, that was weird. That noise like a weird pop. But I was like, I don't understand what throttling would affect. Because, like, if you're on the phone or sending text or whatever, like, I get that. Like, you don't obviously need data for that. But then it came to my attention that it seemingly they use it to use for videos and sending back and forth, which I do get.
Yeah.
I have no issue with the need for it. But my initial thought was like, what is that? I feel like if it's an emergency, you're just going to call somebody.
I just want to point out that the throttling goes from a 1 out of 200.
What do you like?
That
Speeds?
like the speed itself
yeah.
split it up into 200ths, and they got 1 out of 200th of their original speed.
I find it very like, I don't know. I guess it's just, I've never really thought about it. But like if someone is covering like say like a fire emergency, whatever. I guess whenever we see the footage, I just always assume it's a news chopper or whatever. I would never assume that the fire department's doing that, which by all means they probably should, especially for like future planning and hey, here's how we should handle this and a lot of stuff. But that was just something I didn't initially think about, and that's why I was just like, this is weird. I don't fully understand this, and I think that maybe some very naive person at Verizon or somebody might have been like, they just gotta call people. That's all they need, right? Just give them a small plan.
It's more along the lines of the people that were signing up for the contract, because unfortunately, some of the people that you deal with in bureaucracy aren't exactly the most intelligent, or they're looking for a way to save a dime.
Yeah.
So you save a penny, but you spent $1.
Well, this could have gone two ways though, because I mean it's a government contract that these companies compete for. I mean that's the way government does contracts like that. So it could have been Verizon saying, "Hey, yeah, we'll give you this plan," and it was kind of buried somewhere in a contract. Hey, by the way, you're limited to like a terabyte or
it's
like
still
100
on there.
gigabytes
It's
of
still
data,
on them to read that contract and make sure that
it
they're
is,
doing what they need to.
Don't get me wrong, but
it doesn't make Verizon any less of a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, like Verizon, their system was doing what it was supposed to do automatically. They had a huge surge in data usage, and they were like, "Oh, whoa, what's going on?" And I get it. That's what normally happens when you get throttled in general. Like when you binge on Netflix for a straight week.
What bothers me is just in general the concept of throttling.
Yeah.
Like if you pay for unlimited, just give people unlimited. Why is that such a hard concept?
Why? I mean,
to 20 gigs.
It's the same thing as like when like Metro PCS is like, yeah, you get 4G, and then after 1 gig you get like 3G for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's like why?
Yeah.
Like I'm confident you can handle it, and if you can't, I'm giving you money. Buy more. Come on.
Well, and in this circumstance, we have individuals who are trying to do their job to get it done and can't, are being handicapped by it. But I mean, what happens in the circumstances where there are family plans, they've gone through their data, they're throttled, and the daughter's stuck somewhere trying to send out location data?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are so many circumstances in which an emergency can arise, and there's no way to signify this is an emergency.
I think Verizon failed because they should have been like, oh, holy crap. And it's like, we need to make sure that we're helping on our end. Like, just being kind of like aware of the world and your customers would be great. And be like, hey, is everybody doing well? Hey, you're our customers. Are you getting everything you need? No? Okay, well, right now we're showing that this is what happened, and we're fixing the problem now. But we're going to have to talk about our contract later so that way this doesn't happen in the future. That would be a responsible company.
Not to continually make this show the Dylan's Dream Man of Elon Musk show. But it's just like when
Tesla Wireless.
Exactly.
I want to get a Musk poster with his shirt off just in the corner for you.
That'd be amazing.
Kind of like a Putin on a bear, except it's Elon Musk on a rocket ship.
But whenever that Florida was getting hit by those hurricanes and whatnot, and this was like a month after the media was like slamming him because they're like, oh, you're selling the P60 and it's really the 70 battery and you're just governing. That's so rude. And then like they just went away for a month. And like a month later, there's a hurricane. He's like, by the way, everyone has a 60. You're automatically going to get the extra range, so that way you can safely get out of the state. And it's like, nobody asked that.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted that. It's just a good human being a good human.
Or
why don't we have more good humans?
or what was it? Taking his engineers and his scientists from the Boring Company anyway to go save the little kids that were trapped in the cave.
SpaceX and the Boring Company. Let me just take my best engineers on my plane to fly them to the Philippines or Thailand or whatever it was. Yeah, why can't it be good people?
It was Thailand.
Why can't we have more good people?
What were you going to say, Mark? Because you look like you wanted to say something before the Musk interrupted.
The Musk.
It has to
I was
happen.
going with that.
Oh.
No, Verizon could even have like their own personal interest in this too.
Yeah.
Their own equipment is out there in the middle of all these fields giving them the service to do this. Verizon, you would think you might even have their own personal interest. Say, hey, we might want to make sure they have everything they need because, our equipment's out there too getting burnt.
Not only that, but it's like, hey, check it out. Here's our next commercial. We're fighting the fires, and we're making sure that they got what they need, and we're gonna. It's like Duracell. What do you? I mean, when you would see an advertisement,
headlamps for
when you need a battery, it's working and it's on, and this is the stuff that it powers. Yeah. And it's like, come on, guys, this is just too easy. Your marketing group just fire them.
It's my biggest problem.
Fire them.
Yeah. Is that it's
I do it all the time. I don't know.
A lot of these companies are thinking way too short term, and they have been forever. And this is one of the worst short term plays you could have done. Not only are you endangering people, but now everyone looks at you like you're a piece of shit.
And you're in like the conservative era where everybody's like serviceman, police, firefighter, and you're like, boop.
How easy would it have been at any point in time? Like, take this situation out of context for someone in Verizon's management to go, hey, maybe we should give EMS individuals unlimited data and not govern them. Like, that would probably be smart, right? Oh, wow.
What bothers me is more of like, if any of you have ever, I haven't had a CAD plan in like 10 years, but for texting and calling, whatever, like my old unlimited plan didn't have unlimited texting and calling. And at my old work, my phone died at my desk, so I had to use my actual phone for a while. And you know what happens? Verizon sends me this great little text message. It's like, hey, you're about approaching your maximum minutes usage. You're like 20% of the way to maximum capacity. So I feel like someone at the fire department had to get that message. Mm-hmm. And I'll give Verizon credit. You know what? Maybe it's an automated system, and you don't know. I do feel when one of your biggest government contracts get an alert like that, maybe you should look into it. Yeah. But the off chance that you don't, I feel like someone at the fire department probably should have been like, hey, guys, we're going to throttle our data if we don't do something. That's weird.
Of course, to be honest, they were probably using enough data that it was probably like, hey, guys, they're going to throttle our... Oh, too late.
Well, I was about to say, that everybody was using GPS, sending pictures, sending video, constant updates. It wasn't just like, hey, ping, system. It's like, this is where I'm at all times.
I mean, if they use hotspots. I got too many questions.
I mean, hotspots would be location data is the one I'm thinking is probably the most utilized.
I was just thinking maybe use like the hotspot, like from within the helicopter, like
Oh, absolutely,
and stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
all I know is AT&T is going to swoop in there and go unlimited everything. Yeah. You don't have to worry for a thing.
We'll give you some direct
T-Mobile's recovery plan. Hey, we can do this right here. Oh, $4 million. Never mind.
It definitely seems like it stems from just corporate greed, and like you were discussing, like why throttle at all? Like you could have solved so many of these problems by just not being greedy. Yeah.
Well, that's my other point too. Is like throttling in general. At what point in time, like Time Warner Cable, for instance, or Spectrum, or whatever you want to call them now, they have the ability to go to like 200 Mbps for a very long time now. and they were throttling people when we were at like, oh my god, we have 30.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Do you know what kind of stuff? Oh my god.
Well, see, like that, I at least understand. Like, hey, I'm gonna charge you per speed. I get that. What I don't get is in the Northeast, you have Cox Communication, and
Las Vegas as well.
everybody except for FiOS in the Northeast, has data caps.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, you can have a gig by gig. Once you use a terabyte, though, it's an extra 25 cents a meg, and you're like, you're an anarchist.
Unless you pay for our $300 a month plan, though.
And what's more dumb is like the way they did it was like, oh yeah, everyone, your current plan now is gonna be the cap plan, but you can upgrade for like a 30% fee.
Well, to be fair, data caps are stupid in general, but at the same time, like you have people arguing like, I don't use that much data. Why should I pay this much? Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I mean, just having access to this giant data stream is sufficient. It doesn't hurt them to have everything wide open. Like, I don't know any household that uses enough data all the time that it would cause a giant slowdown like that if you were running wide open. Like
my issue is like that concept though is just like if you're using the service, everyone using the service should benefit from this. It's like if in the scenario that everyone uses the same water source and we all need taps in it, then yes, Brent and his family of 8 maybe use more water than me and my family of 2, but we both need water. Why would you charge us for, Brent used this much and Brent got this speed at this much versus I got this speed at that much?
You're talking about a finite resource where data is not.
Exactly. That's my point. Like the water argument, I could at least get.
Yeah.
You could run out of water.
I thought you were trying to use the water argument, and I was dude,
that's point.
a totally different game.
Like, water will run out. You know what's not going to run out? Your servers that are just caching this.
Yeah.
That's it. My phone will fill up. Yes, I totally agree. My phone will run out of space. It's a finite amount.
The only thing I'm paying them for is access to the internet. I don't need you governing things and saying, oh, I'm going to throttle you now until I'm holding you ransom to pay more. And I'm like, oh my God, get off your giant golden throne.
You have a giant pool of the stream, and no matter how many little siphons go into it, you could either expand or shrink in the pool, but the speed going out of it's the same.
Yep.
And, I mean, we're at the point now where there's so many companies capping. Like the one company who goes, well, guess what? We have the adequate amount of infrastructure, no caps, no throttling.
They get all the business.
Everyone's gonna go to them.
Yep.
Google.
Yeah.
People are making home purchase decisions to make sure they stay because we have Google Fiber here.
Yeah.
I mean,
people are making home purchase decisions to try to look at them.
The only people that have caps here is AT&T.
Yeah, about to say,
which is so dumb.
I have AT&T. I don't even run into data cap issues. To be fair,
you have AT&T?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have amazing internet. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy their infrastructure.
The only time that I've seen it being an issue is one of my buddies, the guy who was originally in this chair right here, Billy. He moved, and when he moved, he had to get new internet, and he got AT&T. But he moved and built a PC at the exact same time. So he had to download a whole bunch of stuff, and he's like, the first month, it got close. He's like, now, since then, it's never gotten close again. But that first month, I pushed it.
Well, I've also noticed that as they've built out their fiber structure, they've gotten rid of a lot of what did have data caps, or at least increased them to the point where they're now a little bit less like consequential.
I mean, I download full-on video games, and we still haven't got close. Now, granted, if we had a house like when we were in Fairport, where we were downloading like 60 gigs a day a piece, like it was ridiculous.
Adult films?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, VR came out, and we all got real excited.
But I do think that it's just we're going in circles. We're saying the same thing over again. I mean, they're being greedy. Stop being greedy. Your greed doesn't benefit you.
Be a good person.
Or anybody.
It doesn't. It literally like makes you a couple dollars today, and then tomorrow everyone's shitting on you. Like today, where everyone's like, "Forget you, Verizon." Like, it's so dumb. Being a good person can lead to financial gains.
I seriously want AT&T to like mimic their Verizon dude, like quirky dude in a suit, and be like, "Hey, look, it doesn't matter what emergency service you are, you get unlimited data plans, no throttling," and just do the mic drop that he did earlier.
Yeah.
No, all they have to do is
eat it.
Whoever wins the next ad campaign, all it has to be is not Verizon, and you basically just have to offer like a 10 or 20% discount for all like service members. That's it.
Yeah.
You win. That's it. You've just pooed all over Verizon.
Yep.
You're dumb.
Well, that's what you get.
Yep.
Be a good person. Please be a good person. Save the world.
I mean,
Save the
I feel like there's always something wrong. Something's going on. Something's wrong. We're not happy with it. And Dylan, you're not happy today.
I'm not. I'm never happy.
Oh
That's a plot twist, just like the Hulk's always angry.
What?
You just got to be never happy. So media's in a very weird spot to me. We always talk about, like, is Netflix dying, and we've had all these media talks recently. I don't think we talked about deepfakes on here. But I know we've talked about deepfakes offline.
We definitely have talked about deepfakes offline.
Deepfakes, for those of you that don't know, was this very interesting adult film scandal, I guess is the best word. Not only adult film, but it was definitely brought to mainstream media's attention by adult film, where they were taking very famous actresses and basically faking their face onto female lewd artist actresses, and they looked 100% real, and it's very alarming.
It is incredibly alarming.
It is incredibly alarming. And what was released yesterday or over the weekend, I don't remember which, was I think it was yesterday. But basically, the people who've made deep fakes have like taken it a whole nother level now. And there's this video, and it is just terrifying. They can take any dancing footage right now, and they have this Asian lady, and I think it's this white guy, but they'll just have them like dance like this and all kinds of weird stuff, right? And then they'll take like a professional dancer, and then they'll show the computer the professional dancer, and then the person who's dancing like this, they can make a moonwalk perfectly, break dance, do everything perfectly. Yeah. Now, it is not perfect.
Yeah.
You can still, like, the hands do some weird glitches and stuff like that, but, like, that is them going out of their way to make it not close. If it's close, it's going to make you look perfect.
Yeah.
It is just terrifying.
You can't trust the internet.
It's basically it. You're never going to be able to trust media again.
Has technology gone too far?
But I find it very interesting, and this is why, like, in our notes, I basically made this a 3-part effort. So I made everyone do homework because I'm a nice human. The other big part of this, that kind of is the second cog in this wheel, is over the weekend we got the largest YouTube fight entertainment media spectacle thing, KSI and Logan Paul fault. And I think it peaked around like 825,000 concurrent people that paid $10 to watch this. Wow. However, on Twitch, it seems that around 1 million people watched the fight for free because people streamed it. Now, it's super crappy because not only did the stream go up on Twitch, not only were there a ton of people watching it on Twitch, the way that YouTube handled people trying to rebroadcast, they actually did it from like a codec perspective, so they nuked everyone. YouTube, there was no one. If you showed the fight for more than like 3 seconds, you were instant pulled off YouTube.
Oh, wow.
All the streaming illegal fight sites and like all the stuff that people go to watch, like UFCs and boxing stuff, all those sites got taken down. Everyone except for Twitch. Twitch not only did nothing. There's photos of one of the biggest streams with Twitch staff.
Yeah, Twitch admins watching
to their staff accounts.
Okay, there was only like 5 or 6 of them. But.
So apparently YouTube may be trying to sue them and whatnot because their staff is obviously not doing anything about this.
Yeah.
And it was an event that could negatively impact Twitch. Either way, huge deal. But it's one of those deals where the concept of it from the KSI Logan Paul camp was they were originally going to make it so that you had to pay to watch the fight. They originally weren't going to divide it on YouTube. And they wanted to be like, you either saw it or you didn't. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The people were in the arena. People saw the stream. That's it. No recaps, no highlights, no nothing. So it's like one of those things where, like, you kind of got to be there type deals, right? And to me, that's like a super, super cool event. And it's something that, like, you've got to see it live, and that's your one shot.
Now it's archived on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, now that's no way.
There's no way that's not pulled
fantastic. Yeah, but people can always just pull those videos down.
So now it's more of like, I guess, what's going to happen. And I assume they're probably just going to release it for free on YouTube at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, why does it matter?
Yeah.
And then the third little cog of this wheel that I kind of want to bring up is there's a photo that I saw a couple weeks ago when Tiger Woods was competing at the U.S. Open. And it was showing Tiger Woods in 2000 at the U.S. Open, and then Tiger Woods at the U.S. Open this year. And in 2000, he's up there, and he's like, he just took a shot, and it's like the end of his swing, right? And you see this crowd of, like, I don't know, like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people, and they're all just, like, standing there, like, eyes wide open, just like, oh, my God, this is impressive. And they showed it this year, and literally every person is one vertical videos, you savages, are all like this. Just everyone is standing there with their phone out. So it kind of begs a question to me of, like, what's happening to media? It's so very odd because I feel like so much stuff is torrented and illegally watched and illegally streamed, and people aren't paying for content. And on top of that, people, when they go to events, they're not watching with their eyes, they're watching with their phones, which is
drives me up the wall.
Terrible. Yep. And then on top of both of those things, we basically are living in a world now where it seems like you can make anything look real that's not.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It is absolutely terrifying. I don't think it's interesting because this isn't new. It's just widespread. Like that's the difference. Because
to me, it's more of like the pieces are coming together. And it's
Yeah.
like that's scary and that's scary and they can. Oh.
I was watching a video that was discussing the Battle of Los Angeles, happened in 1902, which is not a real battle, but the entire western seaboard blacked out, no electricity, air sirens were on because the U.S. Army was afraid that they were going to be bombed by invading forces. There's these bright lights in the sky, U.S. attacks it, all this. So it's all written out in the newspaper. People start freaking out. All of a sudden, a week later, these photos start being published, and it shows these flying bright saucer-like objects with the army attacking them. Well, it turns out that that was essentially the earliest form of Photoshop where someone just distorted the picture as they were getting it made and developed, thank you. And they were able to make it look like there were UFOs there. And it's one of the most famous pictures of that event. It's still widely spread. People still believe that's a real thing. Like it's nothing new. It's just the way that we handle media today is like that.
Well, yeah, I think,
and that's what's terrifying.
I think for me, it is more of like when you're growing up, like you kind of hear the Photoshop things, like, and it's always the joke of like, oh, where's Bigfoot? We haven't seen him since we got good camera phones. And it's like, yeah, sure, like because people would video it, right? They wouldn't take a photo. Like you could Photoshop a photo, but you can't really fake a video. And then now when it's like you're seeing some of these videos, you're like, dude, you can fake a video. That's terrifying.
Well, I mean, it comes with the anonymity stuff, too. You know, you got people who are torrenting stuff. It's a lot easier to steal from someone you don't have to look at.
Well, to me, it's now like it went from like that, like where it's like, oh, well, I read it in the newspaper, it's got to be real, to like the people are like, okay, you know, maybe that could be fake. Maybe I need to see like a video of it, right? And then people are like, oh yeah, if it's on video, it's totally real. Like, you know, it's the saying like picture it didn't happen or video it didn't happen, right? Yeah. And then now it's like, dude, I feel like I gotta be there in person. Jesus.
Next one's gonna be multiple angles or it didn't happen.
Yeah, there you go.
Multiple angles and I was there. Yeah.
All I know is people that hold up their phones in the middle of concerts, you are lower than a cockroach.
The scum of the earth. I am staring you in the eye.
Like I am like this close to taking those phones and smashing your face with it.
You know, the only reason he doesn't is because you're shooting it horizontally and not vertical, like an anarchist.
So, dude, quick segue. Last Tuesday, I'm going to name drop here. I went to the Beyonce Jay-Z concert.
Yeah,
and with the fiancé.
I've seen it.
We were on the second row, and this woman was in front of us because the way the concert was, they had like these two walkways. So like to our left is a walkway in which they came around. No. Oh, it's way worse.
Oh no,
it's way worse. So we're at walkway, big screen in front of us where we're able to look up in them, and then when they're on the walkway, we can see them over there. It's actually really nice seats. So we're sitting there, and this woman is leaning back behind. I gotta stay close to the mic. Back behind her, into my fiance to record like this. The entire time. I joke, like I'm not joking at all. At no point did she stop. The video would end. She would hit record again and just keep going. And there were moments where Beyonce and Jay-Z were right over there, like on the walkway. Like I could spit and hit Jay-Z in the face. And she was just right here on the screen. I'm like, you're not even doing this right. I just wanted to throttle.
Does your memory not work, or are you just so much of a narcissist that you have to look at yourself in your phone at all times?
I want to know. You were explaining it. Handsome John over here had his mouth open the entire time you were explaining. It's like, are you stupid?
What was
that bad?
She had to have been some sort of intoxication because I looked at Brianna and I was like, let's just step to the right. And we stepped to the right, and she just kept backing up. And I was like, that's all we needed to do. Problem solved.
I'd have tripped her.
Her friends eventually came. We're like, we're just gonna go over here.
I thought you were gonna say it was a tablet.
Oh no, God, that'd be
one of those people are even more toxic.
No. When I went to the Logic concert, I saw somebody doing that. I was like, here, and I was like, why are you holding your hands this far apart?
Got a full-on beer and been like,
no. See, I like the tablet idea only because you could put an LED sign on there and put like, "Hi, Logic." Scrolling.
No. Other way around though.
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
The one thing I almost just for this, so I do like Joe Rogan as well. I am a big Joe Rogan fan, but he just did his comedy show here like I don't know 3 months ago.
Yeah.
It was sold out. However, I was gonna buy seats on StubHub or whatever. If it would not have been sold out, I would have bought a ticket to go, even if I wouldn't have been able to go, just because he was testing the new program thing to where like you have to turn your phone in to get into the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
like, that's amazing. They basically put them in these, like, I don't know, sealed bags, and they put them in like a locker. Then you're given a number. Then when you come out, you take your bag and
to
take
be
your stuff.
fairly, you just bring a dummy phone in and be like, here you go. And
Well, no, so I mean, it's a comedy show, so I feel certain the bouncer would be like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, they would have grabbed
Oh,
your
yeah,
ass
yeah.
and throw you out.
So it's like more of like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that.
I agree.
support
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yep.
And I almost went just for the sole purpose of like, I want to fund you so that this like becomes a thing.
Yeah, we went to the
AWOL Nation.
AWOL Nation.
Thank you. We went to AWOL Nation concert, and I'm looking up at it, and I would say probably a solid 50% of people had their phone in the air.
65.
Yeah.
Like it was over half the individuals. in
I'm
there.
being generous, but it was disgusting. I'm like, so you're not paying attention to what you're doing. You're watching the concert through your phone. And I'm like, how many times do you go back and watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
This is what killed me. How many? I saw this tweet at 4th of July because it's just so perfect. And it's like, how many people, right, how many hours of video are going to be recorded of fireworks this year that will never be seen again?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why? It's a firework.
Enjoy it. It's your memory. If you don't have a good enough memory, enjoy the fact that you don't have memory.
Yeah.
So I totally
Goldfish have great
understand.
lives.
I understand pulling out for a minute. Hey, update. Here's what I'm doing. Like, this is really
Took me a
cool.
second.
Great. But, I don't understand the concept of, like, I'm going to spend a solid 5 minutes just recording this. Because I hate to break it to you, this isn't great quality. Like, it's good quality compared to what it
audios would
used to
sound
be.
like poop,
But
no
yeah,
matter what.
it sounds terrible.
Or like me
it
and Brent
doesn't
taking
look
a quick
good.
selfie like, hey, we're at the concert. We had
Yeah.
a good time. This is a memory to put on Facebook or, in the scrapbook or whatever you want to do with it. Cool. Done
My
with it.
scrapbook.
My scrapbook.
I think the most photos I've ever taken at a concert, which I've probably taken a video at a concert, but I don't believe that I have, or to my knowledge, I don't think I have. But at a gym class here in Dirty Heads concert, I took like 4 photos, and that is only because I took one photo. Travi is like standing on a box, like from me to John, and he's a giant human. I'm like, oh, this is a great full frame photo. I take the first photo, and then he stands back, and the way he's singing the song is like, he said like, put your peace sign down and your middle finger up. And every time he was going from this to this. So I take my second photo and I get the peace sign. I was like, I don't want the peace sign. I take my third photo and I get the middle finger. I was like, that's what I wanted. And that was the end of my photo taking spree.
Well, like I remember distinctly, I want to say it was the Hollywood Undead concert I went to, and I was sitting there and I went up to because one of my favorite songs was going on. I was
Charlie
like,
Sheen.
oh, I'll film it. What did you say? Yeah, it's definitely up there. Let's put it that way. And I was sitting there taking the video, and I'm like, I'm never gonna look at this again. This is dumb. And I'm looking at everybody else, and I'm like, I hate those people that do this. I'm not doing this anymore. And
Yeah,
I
mean,
just never ever did it again.
I understood to some extent just because when I was at a concert, like when I was at the Logic concert anyway, I did take a video. It was more like, I'm going to put this on Snapchat. Hey, everybody, look, this was cool. This was fun. I had a great time.
My sister did that. She Snapchatted half the concert, and I was like, "Did you enjoy it?"
See, that I don't understand.
I don't get it either because I hate it. I don't use Snapchat anymore because I'm a weird human.
No, you're not.
You're not weird. You're normal.
But I use Instagram. And the Instagram little stories, the same concept. And it's like, cool, if I get to your story and the dots look like periods for your story, I'm already concerned. The rip. And then when I see it's at a concert and it's just like every second of the song, I'm like, why? I don't. If
wanna watch you at
you
this
could have
concert.
posted a selfie and been like, oh, I'm looking at Beyonce and Jay-Z. That's cool,
Well,
man.
even put the
Like
name of
yours.
the song
I
down
saw
there.
yours. You post like 3 things. I'm like, cool. Hey, Brent's at a concert. Hey, Brent's with his fiance at the concert. Oh, it's Jay-Z and Beyonce. That's cool.
Done.
That's it.
That was it.
That's all I needed.
That was worthy of my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a
Guess what I'm
good
not
15
watching.
seconds, and I don't feel like I wasted my life or anything.
Your
Well,
45-minute
and-
video of this concert.
And I mean, we've been to concerts together for years. Like, one of my favorite times to take photos has always been in between shows.
Yeah.
Because that's where you could be a dumb. Like,
Yeah.
recently on Facebook, there's an update of me in a Linkin Park shirt, wearing a hat, giving the biggest middle finger just to the
It's
camera.
super strong. It's like everything is super flat.
Yeah, it is like the perfect picture. And I was like, that was awesome. How'd that happen? When no one else was on stage and we were goofing off.
It actually made a little challenge of who had the best finger. Brent still won. I tried really hard to make mine super flat, but I just can't. It hurts.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's your
that one right
dude.
there.
That one right. It's just so angry. Yeah, no. That is just so angry.
It is good.
Yeah, it's just
you
everything
have a
is
rather
perfectly
large middle
straight.
finger.
It's the emoji that they put onto the phones. It's that right hand of
Doom.
yes.
But
That's amazing.
The media, I think it's always been bad. I think it's getting worse because of how widespread everything is and how quick everything is.
Yep.
Well, I think and this is no I don't know, culture and sensitivity intended, or I don't know I'm meaning this in the most PC way possible, but it was so laughable. I feel like when I was late high school and then early college ranges, of it's so laughable. Of no offense to Chinese people at all, but when it's
when you start a sentence that way,
just keep going.
It's you see at every tourist attraction, you see all these Chinese people with selfie sticks taking photos and videos of everything. Oh, look, they look so dumb, and you're like, yeah, look at those nerds, and it's now everyone's like, oh yeah, they were so dumb.
Yeah.
They're so dumb. And you're like, you're the same. You're the same.
They're sitting there
man.
taking pictures of them while they're holding
Exactly.
the selfies.
And now they're knocking over things at museums and having to pay for it.
But now it's you're the same. We don't need a selfie stick. We don't need. You know what? We should just go back to flip phones and pagers.
Mm-hmm.
No cameras. Just take it off.
Act like a normal human being and play Pokemon Go with your phone.
I felt like
Don't
a
use that.
badass when I was just like, it's done.
What? Oh, when you
Yeah.
flip your phone.
That was
I was
really
really
weird because I
confused
wasn't
with that
sure
one,
what
yeah.
you were doing.
It's grabbing her by the. Never mind.
Strange Conversations does not condone.
Grabbing her by the
It's just super odd, especially the concert things and people just always being on their phone to take videos, and then you have the deep fake, so it's what is even real anymore? And on top of that, concerts are another thing where it's I feel like when we were younger and you went to a concert, everyone was like, oh my god, how was it? And it's the coolest thing. It's oh, you're a baller because you went and saw this band that I really liked. So I mean, they were super cool. They were everything I ever dreamed of. That's awesome. Now it's people go online, watch a concert live on YouTube for whatever reason, and then it's oh yeah, I really don't want to go because of this, and this, and it's such an experience, and we're just losing all of these experiences.
They even
because
have a subscription
humans
service now for concerts.
But I think that there's a middle ground here because I do think that we've talked about it before of having VR and having that experience where you could watch a game or watch a concert. I think that is definitely a viable means, especially when you're talking about certain individuals who physically can't go to concerts.
Totally.
And so I think there is something
because they're short.
that too. I think there's
Weird
something
next
there,
scenario.
but it is all about building a cultural zeitgeist that respects the act of going there along with the technology to not go. I've been in a Bo Burnham kick a lot recently, and I've rewatched a ton of his specials over and over again. And Make Happy is one of the most intriguing specials because it is so heartfelt and so self-deprecating and so funny. But one point he brought up that I've honestly been thinking about a lot recently was this generation, our generation, was raised that you want to speak up, you want to talk because somebody's going to listen to what you have to say, and then we've been given the technology to give ourselves an audience where we're able to consistently do it, and we're talking about it right now where people are in the audience and wanting to be the center of attention, so they're pulling out their phones and they're making all these updates and all these things, and it's very frustrating because you're losing yourself into this fake show that is not that great.
Everyone could be a narcissist.
Well, for me, it's the worst part is like you're saying, I don't disagree with you at all. Okay, sure, the star of Jay-Z and Beyonce is Jay-Z and Beyonce. That's their show. You're there to watch them. No one cares about you. I'm not being rude. No one cares. Yeah, no one cares about you, little dancing lady. We're here to watch Beyonce and Jay-Z. But even when I if you watch KSI Logan and these famous people that have done a fantastic job of making their voice heard on the internet, and they're all super popular. If KSI Logan were to post a 27-part Instagram story of him at a concert, I'd be okay, that's weird. But he doesn't.
Yep.
He doesn't want that. He doesn't want you to experience that, and that's because
not his
he's a
image.
good content creator.
Yeah.
You're never going to be let me film 46 parts of this Linkin Park concert. It's going to be great content. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not.
Not
You're just going to look like an idiot. That's all you're doing. You're looking like an idiot.
Say not for more than one reason, but I decided not.
I know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sad as it is.
Yeah.
We're going to that Mike Shinoda concert. That's
Yeah, buddy. Can't wait.
You know what you should have done, and I think that everyone should do this, is that anytime you're at a concert or you're in a public event, you have people having to take videos as obnoxiously as that woman did, or you've already got the 6'6" dude sitting in the front row also holding up his iPad. Take pictures of this, point them out on social media and say, look at this idiot. Yeah, shame the crap out of them. Get it towards it is no longer socially acceptable to do these rude things. I mean, imagine someone doing that in a movie theater. Being this like someone just raising up a sheet going, oh, you can't see anything, right? Oh, my bad.
Well, and also
Leonardo for the Oscar.
talk to your friends too. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you have a friend who does it and it annoys you, you don't
watch
have to
them.
be rude about it, but you can be polite and just
Be
be like,
like,
"Hey,
dude,
this
put
is
your
not
phone
cool.
down,
Let's enjoy the time together."
What I thought was super interesting.
You're retarded. Stop.
What I thought was super interesting about the Tiger Woods photo thing, though, is that like so many people, like you have that half the world that's like, oh, look at these idiots all filming them or whatever. Then you have all these people like, I mean, they're just trying to capture a moment. Tiger may never be this good again. This may be the last chance to see Tiger like competing in tournaments. Like, yeah, there's professional photographers taking fantastic photos.
And you'll be able to see them online
Google
for
on your
free.
phone all the time.
I hate to break it to you, but like,
Your
feels
photo
very,
from the 6th row
Yeah,
and
it's
his
not
left
gonna
calf is
matter.
not going to be right.
It's not gonna matter. I mean, I think a lot about like our parents or grandparents, like all these individuals who are like orators. My grandfather is one of the best storytellers in the world, and he has a Facebook to keep in touch with people and look at photos. But I mean, the one thing he does is when we go out and do stuff is that he doesn't ever pull out his cell phone.
Yeah.
Ever.
You know how antagonized, like for me, like I definitely have went out of my way in the past, probably in the past 2 years. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I used to use Facebook and Snapchat a lot, so I got rid of both of those. And I never use Instagram and Twitter, which now just because of the other thing on my phone, I use it more. But like when we go out to eat, I probably use my phone like less than 2 or 3 minutes. And it's like one of those things where like I've just been doing it because I want to like talk to people and engage in conversations more.
Or it's related to the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like
like
we're looking up something like.
Yeah, but it'll be like most of the time, like when we go out to eat or whatever, it'll be I will check my phone like I get a text message, so I check my phone once or twice. But then I would say everyone else probably spends like an average of like 3 to 5 minutes on their phone, and it's like we're eating for 15 minutes.
The average human being
third
looks
of
at
it.
their phone every 90 seconds.
Yeah. I've got the new iPhone iOS 12 update or whatever. You have a screen tracker on here. So, like, granted, I use my phone at work, so I know I'm, like, super jading my stats. But outside of my hours at work, I've been averaging, like, right around, like, 30 minutes a day, which since I've had it on there was, like, originally, like, I think it was, like, like, an hour and 15 minutes. So I've been trying to minimize that, like, as minimal as I possibly can.
There you go.
And it's just, cool, I reply to Brent's text, and that's it.
The thing is, mine's going to be super skewed because I talk to everybody when I'm on the toilet.
Well, see, I've gotten, I'm trying to get to the point.
Also watch a lot of videos whenever you're in.
That is probably the time that gets me the most, is Instagram.
Yeah.
That and porn.
Okay.
For those of you who do, it's going to be super skewed. I'm not saying I do.
Specifically the
He's
web
not
browser.
saying he doesn't.
But no, I guess my goal for that actually is going to be more of do you solve your problem? Just call people. That's why I don't like to text people or Facebook message people. Brent should know in the past like month, me and Brent used to message on Facebook like 4 or 5 times a day. Now it's like if I message you something, it is because it's like it's just something very important, or it'll be like, cool, I'll just wait and tell them later.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna save it. Keep it up here.
Even go one step farther. We use Marco Polo for all of
Yeah.
our stuff.
Yeah.
So it's as close to face conversation as you can get, really.
It's,
So I mean,
it's one of the reasons why I like that app so much is because it's
personal.
FaceTime, whatever the case
I
may be.
super like the app for one feature that I also don't like, and that there's no undo. You're just like, hey, Brent, I really need you. Never mind. Just, you know what? Honestly, just ignore this whole video. I'm so sorry, and I wasted 30 seconds of your life, buddy.
Hold the tile and then hit delete tile.
I wasn't going to tell him. I was just going to let him just go on the rest of his life.
So it deletes from everybody's timeline if you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it deletes it from the
you
timeline.
shouldn't have told him that.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not fair.
It's how much
He's gonna do something.
It's called
one
an
of these days and go,
advantage.
oh my god, I was naked. And you're gonna be like, I wish he deleted that. I wish I told him to
No,
delete
I didn't
that.
look at it's gone, and John's like, I deleted that for you, bud.
I've done it before, actually. His brother was putting up spoilers
recorded him
about
Kingdom Hearts?
Kingdom Hearts,
Yeah.
and so I started deleting things. I was like, you need to stop this now.
Kill that. Like, you're 12 years old. He's like, ha ha ha. I'm like, I will come over there and punch you. I weigh 3 times your weight. I can crush you like a bug. And I have a vehicle to do it.
I think that these phones being as easily accessible and widely used and necessity-wise has been detrimental to the human race in general. But we're not going to get away from it.
Yeah, I wish we could go back in time and technology. Deepfakes,
Give me
cell phones at events.
the Razor and be that the best phone that
I'll
there
take it all
was.
day. I'll take it all day.
I-
I'll honestly take no phone because when I was a kid, like it's raining outside, I don't care.
You know
What's
how
my
better
like
my memory is without cell phones?
$3.25 gonna get wet?
I memorized all my friends' phone numbers.
Yeah.
All of them.
Oh yeah. No,
But I can remember
still have a
other
lot of
things is more
numbers memorized.
important.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
exactly how much damage the Doomajigger does and
Absolutely
the
correct.
doodad.
I do think that one of the bigger issues is not necessarily the technology, but cultural catching up, and the fact that most of the time throughout human history, we've had a certain like lapse period in which we're like, hey, we have vehicles now. Oh, that's right. We need roads and we need laws and we need we had time to kind of build it up. And technology today moves at such a fast pace.
We got phones.
Yeah.
Now we have AI-rated cars.
Yeah. Like
there's no time even for like the research to say, hey, this is safe. This is
correct.
You know, like
they're still researching phones and cars and how it affects you driving. Just having a phone in the car, like
you don't need to study that. We know it's retarded, and stop doing it. All of you who are trying to kill me on the road.
I'll say, as a motorcyclist, I'm the guy who will tell you to put your phone down on a road because that's ridiculous.
And
so will I, because I'll kick your car door in.
I've actually stopped doing that. But actually, to be fair, I don't really drive, so I'm on a motorcycle.
I totally agree. I think your point is super relevant, and I think that's one of the biggest issues. Like there's no, like, for me, for example, like, I mean, we all work in front of computer. Well, you don't actually, but the three of us all work in front of computers. So I'm in front of a computer all day. And so, like, when I come home on the weekends, it's like I don't really want to be on the computer that much.
Yeah.
And I enjoy playing video games, don't get me wrong, and I definitely, like, the easiest way to hang out with my friends is to be on the computer playing video games or PlayStation playing video games with my friends. But it's like all day Sunday, I was like, I don't want to be in front of a computer. I've been in front of a computer for like 10 days straight. I just want to go outside and do something.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the Whitewater Rafting Center, mountains, beaches, and we go do those things.
Yeah. Is the beaches with pun intended or no pun intended?
The what?
What?
I do. I mean, I think it just takes conversations like this. Like, you need to have them with your friends, your family. Like, you continue these conversations, and over time, that cultural awareness builds up, and everyone picks a side. Hopefully, it's the side you want. But I mean, if not, you surround yourself around the people who have similar thoughts.
Yep.
So.
I definitely think it's just daunting. Deepfakes, everything, just.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It really is.
I mean, it's just like
scary.
God. And at what point, like, for me, like, one of the big things is like if you don't check your phone for like a day or whatever. Like, I've always thought about like how cool it'd be to go like, you know, like a day without a phone, a month without a phone, maybe a year without a phone, right? But then like at what point in time, like, does something bad happen that like your family needs to reach out to you or like something like that? Like, these are still super necessary. So there's gonna be a good middle ground of like, hey, I still need to know like if something happens in my family and they can get a hold of me, like I want to know that. But I also don't want to be like constantly distracted by this little device either.
What you need is one of the. What you need is like one of those little jitterbug phone things.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for kids.
It has like 6 buttons for people you can call, and that's it.
Just to add to this deepfake thing, imagine how it could be used in the political spectrum.
They already
for
tested
propaganda.
it. They did that, yeah.
So it was.
They made spooks of it.
It was Jordan Peele did one for Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Where they did the whole thing, and he was able to voice over it, and it was like until he appeared, and I was like, man, that's okay, Barack. Yeah, I'm with you. And then it got to him, and I was like, that is his impersonation. How did I not notice that? Because your brain is presented with something that's close enough, so you interpret it, and then you look at the image, and you're like, that's it.
Well, I mean, to me, like, there's just going to be. Now, I don't want this to happen, and I also feel like I'm feeding the minds of serial killers or some terrible people out there. Yeah. But like, just imagine when like this is like, say, some type of military person is like a hostage or whatever, like overseas or something, and then like, what if like Al Qaeda or ISIS or something like that can use deepfakes and be like, we really don't got the guy, but he's not coming out, so we can fake him.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That is super terrifying.
Or
like,
someone uses it as propaganda, like in a specific area, saying, hey, look what this other candidate is doing. And it's not really them, but they just make this fake video, and
back
they
to
think
the
that he's
XXX
killing
videos.
puppies.
Yeah.
Or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest, all the deepfakes I thought were very fascinating, and I actually just more like, when I heard of this, I was like, there is no way that can like pass for real, right? So then I was just like looking up the most popular deepfakes, and like in the top 10, one of them was like Sarah Palin. I was like, honestly, I'd 100% buy it.
Anything is possible.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, one, if you told me this, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
If you told me it was real, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, probably not
whatever.
far off from the case.
Well, and that's where journalism really comes in, and hopefully we can regain what journalism was.
I just hope that the Reddit detectives and the Twitter detectives and all these people are just like, they got better eyes than me, and I hope they just
To be honest, right now they're the only real journalists we have. It feels like lately.
I feel like it just depends on where you look, but that's a tough.
That's like whenever you see
that's
those
a whole
when you see those like
shebang.
sketch videos that you're not sure if they're like real or fake, like of like, oh, this guy gets hit by a car or whatever, right? And then it's just like, well, I'm gonna go look this up on Reddit. All right. Okay, it's fake. It's fake because in this frame, you can see his shoe change his color. Okay.
It was really funny recently. There was that image or video of a robot walking, And it was started leaking on Facebook and other places, and people were like, "This is really freaky," because it was very realistic. And then I happened to come across an article that debunked it early on. It was like, "That's Unity 3D. It's just the Unity game engine. Someone rendered and ran the animation with a robot, and then just added a grainy filter." So everyone's like, "This is robots for real." I'm like, this is why you have to investigate. It's like you just don't believe it because you see it once.
Yeah.
That's not how this works.
Well, Skynet's very believable.
Yeah.
So.
Now it
Your
is.
eyes can deceive you.
Yeah.
Between AI and these robot videos,
So I wanted
fear is real.
to uplift us. I wanted to get the bad stuff out of the way.
Bring
'cause
the things we don't hate.
We kind of went down, and now we're going to come back up to something that we all appreciate. Video games. Sounded like you're speaking Spanish for a second.
I have to say, you used that word zeitgeist earlier. Did you were planning to use that word?
No,
the
but
entire
it
time
did
that
work
you just
out really
wanted
well.
to use it?
I feel like
Zeitgeist is a great word.
I
It
feel
is a
like
great
him
word.
say it once. I hear him say it once a week.
Yeah, you talk to him more than I do, Sprite.
I don't
I don't
think I say Zeitgeist once a week, but I'll take your
Once
word
every
for
other
it. Gamescom was last week. There was a lot going on, and
So
I don't know
This is the important. Oh, sorry.
if anybody else. I mean, yeah, this is. Did anybody else actually pay attention to what was going on?
No,
No.
I did.
I
You
tried to, but I had
Okay.
a life.
So
Wow. That
Dylan,
hurts.
Dylan, you and I can discuss this for a second, but I was ultimately excited about the content, disappointed in the presentation and how things came out of Gamescom.
Yep.
Because there was no actual real conference except for NVIDIA had something.
Yep.
But it was, I don't even think it was a conference. It's like a showcase
Of their new graphics.
yeah,
card.
of their graphics card, which they showed a bunch of trailers.
Yep.
For games that we already knew were coming out, footage that we kind of
More Battlefield Fire.
what?
Battlefield Ring of Fire.
But
What-
we
what-
knew
what-
Battlefield 5 was coming.
No, they showed. So in the first.
A new
the
mode
most
for a
recent-
game we've already known.
Well, the first trailer they showed had the Ring of Fire at the end. This one, showed more about the Ring of Fire
Oh, okay.
for the VR.
I was
So-
just kidding, man. Get lively.
Was it? You heard his feelings.
Johnny
Was it
Cash.
Johnny Cash. Yes,
Johnny Cash wasn't in it, so it was disappointing.
That is really disappointing.
Big missed
Okay.
opportunity.
But I mean, Microsoft didn't have a conference.
Nope.
They just doled out information. The subscription thing,
Yeah,
which
that
I
was pretty
thought was
big
going to be
news.
a home run to talk about, nothing.
Not in the European market. They want to
I mean,
jade that.
yeah, but even still,
Yeah.
it's
We
worth-
did get some good little snippets.
We got some good stuff.
like PlayStation with its Kratos controller and its Goku controller.
Yeah, oh man, that Goku controller
This
looks
is good. This is
so
real
good. And the berry blue doesn't look bad
They
either.
don't look bad.
Oh, dude, that orange one.
Yeah, that's the Goku one.
That's Goku. Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're calling.
Because it
Goku.
looks like
That's
Goku.
what-
Yeah. I was like, I don't know the Goku one, but I want that orange
Yeah,
one.
that
Yeah.
orange one looks hot.
They call it sunset or something.
Yeah, sunset orange, and then
Man.
berry blue, which made me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a. I mean, PlayStation had a good amount of like little trailers and whatnot. We
Yeah.
actually did get to see more VR stuff than anticipated too.
That's true.
There's a
Yeah.
good amount of VR trailers, which we haven't gotten in a while. So
I-
that was definitely neat.
I got a little recap here that I'm going to kind of scroll through, and
Sure.
then we can discuss things. Of course, new Cyberpunk 2077, and we actually got even more of that today.
I do, before you go into this tangent, I do want to say that the initial curveball that CD Projekt Red gave us was awful. Because they were like, oh, yeah, we're totally going to talk about this tomorrow. And they're like, okay, cool. And everybody's like, we're going to get a trailer.
Yep.
We're going to see gameplay. There's going to be right there. Yeah, it's 4 new pictures. Look at them.
Yeah,
I was like, are you that's no.
it was
Take that back.
It was really odd because the timeline was we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Here's 4 new pictures, and now here's a teaser site that's going to be up. Oh, and now it's Monday of the following week, and here's your gameplay trailer. Like,
Well, it
why
wasn't that-
would
it
you
was a-
do that?
Someone had to have screwed up.
Well, no, it was yesterday. I guess CD Projekt Red Twitch started streaming.
Yeah, the
And
weird.
it was
That's
like
what we're talking
streaming the weird little cryptic crap.
Yeah.
And then today it's like loading gameplay. And you're like, okay. It is a great thing that the internet did notify me that was happening.
Yeah, but couldn't that have happened in your Gamescom
Yeah,
when
like-
you're
yeah.
like, "Hey, we're gonna show
Where
you"?
you had
something.
everyone's attention.
Instead, you just did a weird interview.
But
Yeah.
you watched the gameplay.
Yep.
You were very happy with what you saw.
Extremely.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit more, or
It's something that we said before the show, which is pretty much how I feel most strongly about the game, is every year, like when GTA comes out, or not every year, but every so often when GTA comes out, you have the leap from like Vice City to San Andreas to 4, 4 to 5. Like the AI always gets better, right? But there's always like that, like just immersion breaking aspect. Just makes it feel like a game. That didn't sound good. Let's hope that goes back. Whereas this, it actually feels like for the first time, like it doesn't feel immersion breaking at all. It actually seems like this may be the most like well vetted, complete, polished world possibly we've seen. As long as the story doesn't suck, I think this game will fall into Game of the Year unless it goes against Last of Us or maybe a great Beyond Good and Evil.
I was hoping that it wasn't going to become so obscure.
Just go away. Go away.
That's kind of what I was worried about. And, people are like, oh, this is going to change gaming for a while. And I'm like, I hope it does. I would love to see something groundbreaking again.
I mean, in the way in which it handles open world, like the what was the stupid game?
Yeah, it's
Which one?
Not a stupid game. I actually really get like the game Infamous.
Ah.
The Infamous Second Son.
Second Son.
Yeah.
Like the way the world and open world was in Second Son, like the actual buildings and everything felt amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but the world just felt empty.
Agreed.
Like it didn't feel like there was a lot of stuff there. This, like the world, seemingly. Now, granted, this is all from a gameplay trailer. This could totally not be right, but I'm gonna go as an optimist here. The world seemingly is like bustling. There's people. There's tons of AI. They're telling us about like, oh yeah, well these AIs got like they do things in the day and they go to work and then they go home and they go to bed. They have like day and night cycles. You have like a homeless guy come up to you and you can like choose to interact with him, or you can just walk away from him and he goes away, or he goes to other people. And it's like it just seems like the most well vetted open world. They've thought about a ton. Like you go up to a sign, the sign will like then speak to you and be like, oh yeah, you can go over there and buy a can of Slurm or whatever the name of the soda was or whatever it was. It was actually pretty close to that, I think.
Yeah.
And just everything about it just seemed like so very well thought out. Now, the story could suck, is my big thing. But from what I saw from gameplay, like, it may not be your cup of tea gameplay-wise, and, like, the combat seems almost like Borderlands-esque of, like, RPG, dealing damage. People might scale up, like, The Division or Borderlands or whatever.
Yeah.
So that might not be your cup of tea, but, like, just for how it looks for an open world, it looks like the best open world we've ever seen. Just from this trailer. Could totally be different.
Sounds like a first for games and for Dylan to not being optimistic for once. I really
Burning
want
compliment.
It's new IP, so
Yeah.
of course he's interested.
I really want a third-person mode. That is just my
Yeah.
personal nitpick.
Yeah.
It is a huge detractor for me. Borderlands should have been a game I got completely into, but after playing for a couple hours in the first-person mode, it was just
Get
not
outta
what I
here.
wanted. It just didn't feel right.
Well, Division
You're
was cool because
sick.
it
I don't
did
like
have a
first-person
third-person
views at all.
perspective,
No.
but
We're
I would have
the
been happy
complete
with the
opposite.
first-person perspective
Hmm?
too.
We're opposites.
Yeah, I love third-person views.
I hate it.
Yeah, I mean,
Hate
didn't you like Resident Evil 5?
I do enjoy. There's definitely third-person games I really enjoy. Like Last of Us, I adore Last of Us and Uncharted. I would never prefer their combat style. I think they work really good in those games.
I feel like Division it was necessary, and that was just for the peripheral view for kind of like planning.
Yeah, and I think the way tactics work in that game, it makes sense. And I also think, like I said, like Uncharted, I really love how they pull it off in Uncharted. And it also makes you feel, I guess, more with Drake, you know, because you're always kind of looking at him. Whereas if you're looking through his eyes, it's not the same.
Yeah.
However, like The Witcher, like I think The Witcher's stories are amazing. I don't like the gameplay at all in them. Like I'm just not a big fan of how they play out. So like this is more of like, hey, The Witcher wasn't for you. Maybe this other game is. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it is.
We talked about Battlefield 5, but they announced an open beta date, September 4th.
Will there be VR?
Absolutely.
They also
I'll be there.
Yeah.
They did do some weird stuff, which both they did it for Cyberpunk, they did it for Battlefield, and they did it for two other games. I don't remember what they were. They probably did it for way more, but not at this length. But IGN kept doing the interviews with them. They'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, what was the other one? Biomutant. Biomutant was
Yes,
the
yes,
big one
yes,
they
yes.
did. Where they did basically like a somewhere in the neighborhood of a 15 to 45 minute kind of interview with the lead dev and
And showcase gameplay at the same time.
and they did it for Battlefield, and they talked about companies, which kind of showed about the customization. I think when we watched the trailer, I paused and was like, hey, that plane's got paint on it. They'd never really painted planes like this. This looks like we might be able to do, like, full crazy customization. And then in the company trailer, they're like, you guys can have a mohawk and wear a tank top, and it can be crazy. And I'm like, hey.
There you go.
What I did hear, which was a leak over the weekend from Gamescom, is that the company who Battlefield is not doing their own VR. Another company is doing the VR for them.
Oh, that's disastrous. Oh, God.
I think it's going to be all in their engine, and it's going to be all with their assets. But another company is managing the project.
Okay,
company?
no.
There was another company
No,
that
no.
did
As long
this
as the
and
art
did not
style
go
and the
well.
gameplay, like the movements, the gameplay itself is, or I don't want to say actually not the gameplay, the mechanics. As long as the mechanics are the same, I could see this still working.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair though, they don't know anything about the VR space, so bringing in another
You do.
company who
You already
might-
have the game. You literally just take
I know
operations
it
and
hasn't gone
change
well.
it.
Yeah.
As of lately. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think You're right. In the past, it has not gone well, but I do think that the difference
you
being
didn't like Medal of Honor? Well, what a good game. Well, killed this franchise. Wasn't good.
What?
Medal of Honor.
I was just gonna see how long you'd keep going.
The Medal of Honor, they completely developed a single-player campaign and multiplayer were different engines.
I didn't know Medal of Honor had multiplayer.
It was the last
It
one.
was the last one. Guess what? Linkin Park did the theme song for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I do think that the difference here is that most of the time when this happens, it's because they're trying to like shoehorn in a multiplayer. It's like a Batman Origins. They had the multiplayer. Tomb Raider we were talking about had the multiplayer. They're trying to like fill that checkbox. Whereas I feel like here they're trying to take it. They may be taking it seriously and giving it the attention it needs by not dividing the team, but hiring someone that's willing to put that time in.
I mean, I definitely think Battlefield innately is the closest to being a great BR without doing anything.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Call of Duty, I mean, you lag with 18 people. How you gonna do 100?
Yeah, they had that really cool like beachfront thing in the last game.
That lagged real hard.
There was a Fallout 76 Xbox One X themed bundle, and then they showed a new trailer. This was weird to me because they showed some information at Gamescom, and then like the week before, they're like, "Here's how you do all your upgrades and perks."
What's weird as
I
well
wish
is
I was gonna buy a Bethesda
they
game,
gave you the most half-baked information too.
Yeah.
It was so bothersome because they're like, "Oh yeah, you can basically build everything in this blueprint, and then you can pack it up and leave the server, and it's not there." And then in my head, because I'm like, "Oh, there's nukes in this game. What happened to somebody launches a nuke? Can I just log out and my stuff's fine?" Also, it seems like if my stuff gets blown out, I still have the blueprint. I gotta have more assets. Is that how it works, or can you clarify, please? You gave me like 40% of the information I needed.
We'll see you guys in November.
Bye.
We saw some more Smash gameplay for Dark Samus, King K. Rool, and who's the other person? Crom. This another one that was weird because again, the week before they're like, "Here's the announcement trailer," and then at Gamescom they're like, "Here's some gameplay, the thing you saw already."
Shovel Knight's in there, right?
Shovel Knight's an assist trophy. He's not an actual player.
He's a what?
Okay.
Assist trophy.
What is that?
Assist trophies are like characters you can come across in the midst of combat that help you by doing something devastating.
That's dumb. I got so excited.
It's what happened with Waluigi as well.
Didn't they do that with like Street Fighter?
The memes are great.
Or no,
There-
it was
there's a-
Marvel versus Capcom.
So who does at least Waluigi I
I
get?
don't think so.
Who does Shovel Knight come in for? Does he boop him on the head?
I don't know what Shovel Knight does.
That's dumb.
You're asking the wrong person.
I'm already offended.
Let me tell you how much Smash I've played in the past 12 years.
Hollow Knight's on sale, by the way. Go buy it.
The only Smash I really enjoyed was N64.
64 Smash, which we played the other night.
Yep,
It was a lot of fun.
that we did.
Uh,
And Mario Kart.
The only Smash I like is Smash Burger.
It's also delicious.
So many better burgers.
Assassin's
Not bad,
Creed Odyssey had a thematic trailer and then some more gameplay, which was nice. Developers went through a couple things. This is also the same week in which they're like, "Hey, we're not making another one. Everyone enjoy." They showed off some more Resident Evil 2 off-camera gameplay, which was really nice.
I need to watch that.
They're showing Claire Redfield's gameplay, which is interesting because they showed Leon last time. This is kind of a big deal, seeing as how everyone is waiting to see how both characters look and interact. And
I just remember as we were watching that at E3, and we're just like, "Is this a mouse simulator?
it was
What is
so.
this?"
Is this a cockroach? Simulator? What is happening here? Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice not only got some more gameplay, which looks phenomenal,
It does.
but got collector's edition and a release date, which happens in March.
Yep.
I believe this is March 6th, March 8th.
What I thought was very interesting about its gameplay is, and now granted, this is something Mark's topical a couple weeks ago, talking about graphic fidelity. It is very odd to me that they are going with I don't want to say bad graphic design, but it's not like, it's very odd that this game is coming out alongside Ghost of Tsushima. Like,
Yeah.
we know what Ghost of Tsushima is, and it looks unreal.
Yeah.
And then this game is like, just a big step down in graphics compared to that. And it's not bad or anything, but it's just very odd,
It's intriguing to me that they went with such a non-fantastical graphic style.
Yep.
Granted, Neo went the opposite direction and is like extremely colorful.
Yep.
Does have that same level of this is a Dark Souls-esque gameplay, and that's what Sekiro is doing as well. This is falling somewhere in between Neo. Did I say Nero? I meant Neo.
Yeah.
Neo
Yeah, I
and
mixed them up. Man,
Ghost of
like that.
Tsushima. But you're right. It does leave it kind of like monster design's interesting. But if there's not a monster on screen, you're just kind of looking at the game like, where
Is this
is
from 2012?
What is this? The gameplay looks interesting.
It looks cool. The hand is weird, man.
Yeah,
I like
it a lot. So apparently you can customize that arm with different loadouts. So you can put like a flamethrower in there. You can do an axe. It uses its own like kind of like mana
hook type
currency.
thing?
Yeah,
That's cool.
so the grapple's there all the time because
Okay.
you can use that to grapple on certain enemies and points to kind of move yourself away. And the reason why they put that in there is because with the design they had put in beforehand, like there wasn't a way to kind of quickly escape, and players were dying constantly. They're like, well, we don't want to change how your defense and HP and all that works. We just want to give you a little bit more of an edge without overloading the balance. So they just added a quick grapple away.
Yep.
So of all the From Software games, this one looks intriguing to me. I said the same thing about Bloodborne, never played it. So we'll see.
So From Software's doing it, Activision's publishing it?
Correct.
Okay.
I watched a sick video from Software for Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the guy was like delving into like how the game mechanics are and how much they render and how much stays rendered when you're in the area and how like the characters like just all of a sudden come up and like it was really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. You can find that video. It's worth the watch.
Those games are fascinating from the lore standpoint, despite the fact that it's very minimal. Like, you have to dive into it. But there are some excellent YouTube channels that dive into the lore that I thoroughly enjoy. Call of Duty gets a new Arsenal map gameplay. Did you see any of that?
That, to me, is the blip in the radar. There's a bunch of stuff leaked.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of crap got leaked again. Basically, just a lot of stuff about Blackout. Crash and Havoc are getting remastered within it. They're going to be, this may not be final, but this is something they're working on apparently, is specialist stories, which is backstories for all the specialists, and that should be baked in the Blackout gameplay. So maybe something like, oh, you got to play as this guy enough to unlock his story or whatever.
That would be really cool.
That's awesome.
Seems like a neat concept. They announced some guns. They're already working on in-game, I don't want to say DLC because it might be free and it may be unlockable free, but they're already working on Halloween and a Day of the Dead
that's
stuff
cool.
for the game.
That's cool.
That was already announced that they're working on those, which is cool. I'm very glad they're going to keep supporting it. Also, World War II announced they're going to be supporting the game for an additional year.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, and then
'Cause
Destiny.
I didn't think it was doing that well.
No.
I mean, it sales-wise, it did well.
Sales-wise,
Sales-wise,
always
it did
is
well.
great.
I mean, that
Oh,
campaign.
you know,
It's Call of
15,
Duty.
30 million.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're going for another year.
I mean, I feel like they do that every year. They're like, oh, we're going to put it out for a year,
I mean-
and it's going for another year.
I mean, they did support Infinite for much longer than they needed to, in my opinion.
Well, usually the Treyarch games do a really good job. Like Black Ops 3 is still getting support.
Yeah.
But Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward,
Okay.
both of those, you know, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Destiny 2 4-second gameplay was shown as well. I feel like Activision had this weird thing where like they have big games to talk about, and the only one I heard people talk about was Sekiro. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
everything else was just kind of left on the wayside.
What's also weird about that game is how frequently I see its name versus how frequently I see Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah, because you usually see Shadows Die Twice.
The
more
branding is like, I don't know, just pick one.
the problem is they released that teaser with Shadows Die Twice, and then they're
Yes.
like, the name is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I was like, you're dumb. You should have just left it as Shadows Die Twice.
I don't see too many good comments for Destiny.
For what?
I don't know why people just are not
Destiny?
excited for it.
No care at all.
Yeah.
I think just because the first one was like, hey, we believe in you. Keep trying to do better. And then like you kept getting the annual DLC and you're like, okay, you're trying. I see the improvement. You're giving me effort. You're making a second game. I expect it to be like trending upward from, I think the last one was The Taken King.
Yeah.
I expect this to continue trending up. Whole huge step back.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Nah, I'm out.
And then
I'm
also
out, fam.
changed a bunch of stuff about the skins, which really upset a lot of people.
Not only that, I mean, the Forsaken, what is it? The Forsaken, whatever.
Forsaken King.
Yeah.
No.
It's just,
Yes.
I think it's just called Forsaken.
Forsaken, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
They kill one of like the more popular characters that Nathan
And now
Fillion
apparently
voices.
they're bringing it back.
Yeah, like
Well, they
it's,
did it to get the attention.
But the problem I have with that is that you kill him. If I didn't care about your game enough to like really want to go forward with this, at
Now
least
I
you'd be
really
like,
don't.
well, maybe I'll check it out. And then you kill him, like, well, that's like one of the only two reasons I played your game.
Well,
What's-
you might want to see how he dies.
Well, I mean, what's also weird as well is like they're talking about bringing him back for the new stuff, like how he could still be alive and all that stuff. And I'm confident they're gonna bring him back in the next one. Sadly, but it's like, why is it? No hate against Nathan Fillion at all. But why is it that like when it seems super attention based? Because when the similar thing happened with Peter Dinklage, like, nah, we don't need him.
Yeah.
Whereas like now it's like, oh, everybody's upset. Nah, we'll cave this time. It's like you just want the dollars.
What's even crazier is that Nathan Fillion's not even voicing the character in the DLC. It's Nolan North.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Because Nolan North just takes everybody's job.
Yeah, I was
Voice
about to
acting.
say, he's a wonderful voice actor.
Oh, man, he's crazy. Quick plug for them that they don't need, but I'm going to plug it anyways. Retro Replays.
Amazing.
Troy
Yeah.
Baker and Nolan North playing old games. It is amazing.
I didn't know you already saw that, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, "This is gonna be Brent's favorite thing
It's so
ever."
good. It's so
What are
good.
you doing, Spider-Man? Hanging on the windows?
They showed off more Shadow of the Tomb Raider during the NVIDIA like little event thing. They showcased it with the new graphics cards they've been talking about.
Ray
They've been
tracing.
touting. And then they had another trailer that was like focused on dogs, which was weird. I was like, this is cute, but not at all. Like,
Yeah.
not helping.
Can the next one just be on some like crazy sci-fi stuff from the last one?
That would be super
Can we
nice.
just go super weird?
I would love. I'd love it when every franchise goes super weird.
Yeah.
Showcased more Devil May Cry gameplay and gave it a release date, which is in March 8th.
He still hates it.
I don't hate it. I'm a little bit more annoyed. So your mechanical arm is a consumable. So you find them on the battlefield, so you'll utilize them and then toss it and then pick up a new one. I'm like, why?
That should be like your gold. You're like, I'm sick of how this thing doesn't really change, and now you get different stuff with it, and you're still not happy.
It's not.
No, I mean, how frequently are you walking down the street and be like, "Oh, look, a mechanical arm."
Fits right in there.
because
It's
I want to
perfect
get
size.
used to it. I want to utilize it.
Like,
Like,
go Devil May Cry for realism.
yeah, and that is true. The previews I was reading, most people said it's not a big problem, but it did become frustrating because you're like, well, I want to keep this one. I can't though because it's been used and now I have to toss it.
Don't use it. It's a part of the strategy.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's just like nobody's gonna use the game because it's coming out in the gauntlet.
Yeah, March 8th is a terrible time for that.
Oh yeah, what is that?
I'll
2 weeks
definitely
after
play
the
DNC
slaughter,
over Division 2.
or Anthem, or the
Yeah.
other
Dude,
27
weird. Yeah,
games on
it's-
February
I
22nd.
don't know what's going on.
I felt bad for. I can't remember the name of it now. Gone.
Exactly.
I said gone home. Let's just continue forward. Life is.
Speaking of the division,
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
they announced their collector's edition and everything.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I've
Okay.
got a whole.
I didn't want to say anything yet. I was like, oh my god, we said it.
Jeez Louise.
You had another good segue when you were talking about the Shadows Die
Yeah,
Twice.
No, doesn't matter. It's fine. Life is Strange 2 got a trailer and a release date, along with a bump in price. So the original
Really?
game was $25.
Yep.
This is now $40.
Fair.
More resources, more things going
First
into
one's
it.
still free. First EP still free.
So the little thing they announced at E3 is free. I think episode 1 they're going to charge for now.
Because
and
the last one, episode 1, was free.
not right away.
No.
Oh,
You had to pay for it, and then it's the same Telltale model. They do the same
Yeah.
thing where it's like, hey, it's a year now, it'll be free. So, but I am excited for this game. Unfortunately, it's coming out at the same time that Walking Dead final season is, and I'm like, well, next year I get Life is Strange 2. Because I like keeping a little narrative, easy pace game in my pocket.
Well,
in
then
case
I
feel
got
like
that
it.
collection going on too, and I want to finish that, and I just want to hop right into it and finish it after
Yep.
I'm done. That'd be nice.
Working on the collection as well. 10 minutes of Twin Mirror gameplay, which is another game from Don't Nod. They're working on. It's another very story driven. It's supposed to be Twin Peaks-esque, where it's very bizarre, very odd, a little bit of sci-fi,
Looks
maybe
cool.
supernatural. It does look cool.
Yep.
I'm afraid they're doing the Telltale model where they're like, well, let's just throw everything at the wall because they have Vampire.
YOLO.
They've got Life is Strange. They now have Twin Mirror. I think they need to slow their roll.
Was Vampire successful, or was it just like because I
That's
didn't hear one way
vampire
or another.
spelled incorrectly, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only released its first episode. There's 4 episodes total. It's a $60 game that's episodic. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's not great. People enjoyed the story, did not like the combat, so they've now patched it so you can play it with less combat.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Blizzard reveals a new Overwatch map, animated short for Diva.
Yep.
I know no one else here cares.
I do care. Oddly enough, the today, this is slightly late news. Today, the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer of Blizzard, has left for the NFL.
Interesting. Wow.
And a lot of people were saying that's actually going to be like somewhat of a big loss from Blizzard and maybe a big gain for the NFL because apparently that dude's a baller.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Dang.
I did watch the Diva animated short, and it was interesting.
I would say I don't care necessarily about the new map, but I do like the animated shorts.
Yeah.
I do like the lore animated shorts
Yeah.
that are in there. They're really interesting.
I
What
love
an
watching the internet
interesting play.
react.
I would not have guessed in a
Yep.
million years going from games to games.
Yeah.
Maybe
You know
he's
what I mean?
opening up the avenue for.
It's usually the other
Esports.
way, which is very fascinating.
Yeah.
Later.
On the animated shorts notion, apparently that same team that does the animated shorts is working with Call of Duty on some specialists.
That'd be cool.
Interesting.
That
Pretty
would be
cool.
interesting.
Hopefully,
But
baller.
the short for Diva was really funny because the internet was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this. She's supposed to be quirky, but now she has PTSD. Like, what happened there? For Honor gets some new gameplay.
Free. I don't know if you saw this. They put it for free on Steam last weekend. If you downloaded For Honor from, I think, last Thursday to maybe last night at midnight, it may still be up. I don't know. You can check it if you want. But it was free. If you download it, you get it forever for free.
It's almost like the game needs to be given away in order to make the money. Spyro showed off some new gameplay from like the third game in the series, some levels from there.
Looks so good. The remaster looks so cool.
But we don't need to see anymore. Like, I don't need to see anymore.
For me, it's like I want to play through this at some point. So like showing me more or less is completely irrelevant at this point. Yeah. But like to me, it is so impressive to see the side by side.
Yeah.
It just looks
It's
unreal.
probably for really the people that missed it in other perspectives, and then we're going to say, hey, by the way, those of you who don't know, check this out.
It's a real big deal, guys.
I also think it's because they delayed it. I don't think we would have seen it if it was still making that September release date.
That's
going all the way into October 27th now.
Deeper into the gauntlet.
We got actual footage of Diablo 3 on Switch.
It was found
along
footage.
with that. It was. I mean, some of it was shot like found footage. I can tell you that. That game is awesome. That game on Switch sounds even better. It actually has a co-op mode so that you can just attach more. I don't know if you could do it. I don't think you can do it with just a Joy-Con. I was talking to one of our friends about this along with Guacamelee. I was like, I don't think you just detach and play Guacamelee with a Joy-Con. That's complicated.
So it's local play?
It's local play, but I think you're going to need like that extra controller for someone to join you. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
But that still works.
Yeah, I mean, you can handle up to 16 controllers?
16 Joy-Cons, 8 controllers.
8, yeah.
Yeah. And in this instance, it would be 8, but only 4 players can play anyway. So it's also got wireless gameplay, which, I mean, Diablo 3 has on every other platform, but that's still exciting for Switch considering most things kind of are like, play in the same room.
I mean, upcoming here, this upcoming month, the Nintendo service is coming into play.
We'll see. We will see.
This one I was really interested in. The developers behind Until Dawn announced that they're going to make an anthology series of horror games in the style of Until Dawn. They're called the Dark Pictures Anthology, and the first one is The Man of Medan.
The Man of Medan.
I know that sounded weird, but it's either Medan, or Medan. What's intriguing to me about this is that they're planning on releasing this on all platforms. So this is not going to be a PlayStation 4 exclusive anymore. And the whole point is that this is supposed to be shorter than Until Dawn, but there's going to be multiple iterations that are not necessarily interconnected, but it's like a Twilight Zone, like same universe type deal.
That sounds cool.
That's interesting.
Until Dawn was really done well. I enjoyed Until Dawn. A lot of good twists and turns in that one.
Until Dawn, because it was new and innovative. I don't know. I like to say that word the wrong way.
Innovative.
How I guess Europeans say it, but it's really hard for me to do that because I'm not European. But
vitamin,
aluminium. But Until Dawn is $60. I think for that maiden voyage. I totally agree. Hindsight 2020. Maybe Until Dawn's not worth $60. It's a cool experience. It's like a movie.
Yeah,
but I mean it's a $60 movie.
Well, and I think that's
I think with the shorter ones. They hit $40-$50 price point.
I say go less than that. You hit 30.
Yeah.
If you hit 30 with this, and you
hit 60 though.
Ooh, you're screwing yourself. You're screwing yourself. Well, they were smart with Hidden Agenda. Hidden Agenda's like 4.5 hours. It was $20.
Yep.
So
solid.
I didn't finish that, by the way.
I know we do.
It's a good.
I am super excited for this. I really did enjoy Until Dawn. I'm very curious if they're gonna go same vein of Until Dawn, or more QTEs or less QTEs. I think QTEs in that game were like a big. I don't want to say crux. I killed a person because of a QTE, and I'm not a bad gamer. I can only imagine that not great gamers kill a lot of people.
That were pretty close in timing.
Like
one
one
of them
was
like, oh man, like no warning whatsoever. Jesus.
Like there was the one where you're running, and it's like, oh yeah, you're running through this thing, and it's like X, X, circle, triangle, circle, X, X, and I was like, bam, oh, killed her. Oh god.
There were also a lot of like random announcements. Master Chief Collection's coming to Game Pass. Which was so weird.
It was the only way they're going to get people to play it.
So weird.
Maybe you can get a server finally.
Yeah. The mech game that Nintendo showed at the beginning of their showcase at E3, Daemon X Machina, had actual gameplay, which was nice. Soul Calibur showed some stuff. Overall, it was just this weird smattering of a lot of little things. You know what? We won't talk about Division.
No, we're talking about Division. There needs to be things said.
Well, you were segueing to that. What were you segueing towards?
Don't worry about
Finish
it.
it-
Now.
finish
No,
your
it's fine.
tangent.
It's fine.
No,
I don't want
finish
to talk about. I don't want to talk about it
I
anymore.
think he broke his.
There's all kinds of weird smash.
There is a lot of weird stuff. The Division did have some interesting tidbits announced. Why don't you tell us, Dylan?
They did something that I don't like. And I'm very offended that they did this.
Really?
Yeah, I am. They released their pre-order bonuses and their collector's editions and their coolness and their hooplas and their doomajigers. However, the biggest doomajigger you have to get from the stupid Ubisoft store. I already hate Uplay.
It's your favorite.
And I hate everything about it. Now you're going to make me go to your terrible website and pre-order the one thing that I want from your terrible website. I'm going to pre-order the lesser one on I already did. On Amazon. Because I refuse to use your website. Just know I would have given you more money if you would have been not a poo head. That's me. Is that me?
Yeah.
That's me. I like it.
I had great drawings.
I don't like it.
I like they were cool. I don't have any connection to having a statue of one of the non-playable characters that looks like a playable character. Like,
Yeah.
They announced it, and I was like, I'm not paying for that statue or any of the little doohickeys
The
that come
only
in
thing
there.
that even piqued my interest was the map, and that was strictly just because of a God of War thing where they're like, "Oh, this was this hidden thing," and I was like,
It's
"I
not
could
going to be in
use
there.
it to plan things."
It's not going to be in there. It's not going to be useful.
I know.
You're just going to look at it, and you're going to go, this is a piece of shit.
You
I'm
just
going to
ruined
wipe
his-
my ass with it.
You just ruined his dreams.
It's cucumber access the
You
water
water
in such a way.
But
Good.
I'm
Are you
talking about
Gamescat?
Division.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I was sure if you were doing Gamescom.
And they were doing the 3-day.
3-day play early if you pre-order
Yeah.
from Uplay.
No.
It's seemingly only if you pre-order from Uplay and digital. So if you get the physical copy, you don't get it early.
I'm good.
Yeah,
No, they're doing that so that whenever you're done with the technical issues, after that third day, you should be able to play it.
There you go.
You still
only
won't.
on PC though.
It'll be like 2 weeks later.
No, I mean we played the original
Yeah,
Division.
you will.
Whew, okay.
You'll
It
get
wasn't
your,
bad.
No, I'm totally excited for it.
Yeah.
I definitely think it'll be fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
I have no qualms with the game itself. I have qualms with Uplay.
Understandable.
Uplay has gotten me a lot of cool things because I play so many of
You
these
just
games.
acquire points and use them in game.
I've got
Yeah.
so many. I like start a game and they're like, "Hey, here are all these points." I'm like, "Buy everything."
Yeah, and that's because you're starting the game on PlayStation. If I try to start the game from my Steam library, it launches Uplay, then Uplay has to update, and then I log into Uplay. It's like, oh, you need to re-sign into Uplay. I'm like, I obviously launched this game. You're very aware that I purchased this.
I'm
I'm sorry that you play on PC. I can't help you, Master Race.
It's almost as bad as you probably didn't play this, but back in the day, the sports games, Madden from maybe 2015 to 2016 or 17. Every time you would log into any EA game, it would make you log into EA Access.
Yep.
It's like, you're the devil.
Oh.
I don't want this. I bought you. The disc is in my PlayStation. Just play this stupid game.
I'm not gonna go over everything else because that was kind of like the bigger hits. There's some minor ones.
I do want to mention one game that I will hopefully remember to put down in the description below. But if not, you can look it up. It's called Generation Zero.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was one of the more unique games that I saw from that. It's probably like the one that really stood out of the, I guess, non-important games.
Yeah.
If there are any non-important games. And it basically is a game that's like post-apocalyptic 1980s robots taking over, almost Fallout vibe-esque.
Yeah.
Really?
It's seemingly very odd, though, because the world is persistent.
Yeah.
So every robot is an individual robot that is individually there. So, like,
Enemies are capped.
Yep, and if you like shoot the robot and there's a bullet hole in the side of it, that there will always be that robot with a bullet hole on the side of it until you go back and kill it later.
And the co-op in this looks so cool.
Yeah,
Like,
and they seemingly tell you like, hey, there's going to be times where like running is going to be the best case more often than you want to know.
The first round of previews I was kind of glossing over seemed to think that the gunplay wasn't that great. So I'd be curious to see as we get
I've
closer
never
to
heard
it.
of the people who are making it. I don't know if this is their first game.
It very well could be.
I
And
mean, it's still
yeah.
a really cool concept.
It's a really, really cool
otherwise.
concept. And I also like that it's co-op. So like,
Yeah.
even if it's like, I will be more willing to be like, oh well, the gameplay is not the greatest, but it's a really cool idea, and I had fun with my friends.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And hopefully they can. I mean, with that kind of ingenuity mentally.
Yeah.
Maybe they can make something cool.
That was one of the unique things I saw at Gamescom. Other than that, it's the normal of the no, there's some Battlefield.
No, if it was Activision or something, be like, no, you need better.
Yeah, exactly. Step your game up, son.
I feel like everyone from E3 came to Gamescom and they're like, here's 5 more minutes of whatever we showed you at E3, and that's what left me kind of depressed, I guess, about the coverage.
So glad I played video games instead of watching stuff about video games. I already should know.
The one thing I did want to note is because I'm a big manga / anime nerd, One Piece World Seeker, I believe is what it's called, is coming out, and it is a third-person open world game in the One Piece universe where you play as Luffy.
Really trying to figure out how you're going to take a third-person manga open world.
Yeah.
What?
No, but you get to play as Luffy and apparently other characters. But the gameplay, when it comes to like any anime funded game, I feel like the gameplay is usually terrible. They're either fighters with competent controls, like Dragon Ball Fighters this year sold really well.
Yep.
There's that niche, or they're really crappy variations of other games. This one looks solid,
Non-crappy.
and I am really hoping it's good. It comes out this fall. So
Well, we got that Jump Fighter too, so we'll see how that goes.
another fighter, which I could care less about.
I know, but at the same time, it's kind of cool.
I've never heard that name pronounced.
Luffy?
And it just made me think of somebody singing the old Beatles song with like a hardcore speech impediment. Luffy in the sky.
I always read it as Luffy, and so when the anime came out and they're like Luffy, I was like, this is dumb. I refused to call him Luffy.
There was something else we were watching. They came out with a pronunciation. We were like, no,
that's not how that is pronounced at all. You're wrong.
But yeah, something that we kind of talked about off air, but I just kind of wanted to echo, and I didn't say this earlier because I was somewhat saving this. I wanted to save the good sauce for later. But this Gamescom felt much more like a PAX to me than Gamescom, which is unfortunate because, like I said, like Gamescom is my number one event that I want to go to, like that than TGS, because I've always thought it's usually got good reveals, and like 3-4 years ago, like everyone kind of got the vibe of like, hey, this is going to replace E3.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is taking E3.
Absolutely.
And because it's a week long, people can go. It's in Germany. It's like it's a big deal. It gets the international crowd. It's not just a U.S. thing. And then this year it's kind of like,
yeah.
And it may just because even E3 this year to me was pretty weak.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because we're on the cusp of a new generation and lots of other hoopla. But still, like,
it's a transition.
Another year.
It's an awkward transitional period. For sure.
I do wish that. I wish there was a little bit more of a lead up as to what was going on, because Gamescom last year for Microsoft, they did really well. They put on an awesome conference.
You got to win the battles you get.
Yeah. And so I was hoping for something similar this year because they did super well at E3, come out, arm swinging here again. It's a really weird way to phrase that, arm swinging. But instead, there was nothing. And I would have preferred even a Nintendo Direct style, hey, here's a 30-minute sizzle reel of the stuff we've got at Gamescom.
Instead, PlayStation just released it on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I feel like they're focusing on really weird things lately. Both, almost everything between E3 and Gamescom. It just seems like there hasn't been too much in structure with marketing and like the artists like saying, "Hey, this is a good idea. This is not a good idea." It seems like they're very just separated.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm like, why don't you have these people with the vision a part of the vision of the marketing? Like they should be there and helping you with this.
Two different departments.
No, I know that, but that's where marketing comes in and finishes it for them. But at least the artists have a say. Like, hey, this is what you really want to show them because this is what's going to entice the people because we made this and we know what the hell they like.
Oh, to me, it's super odd because like the timing of Gamescom is so weird this year because it's like the week before you have one of the biggest esports events of the year in Call of Duty Championships. Mm-hmm. Call of Duty announces stuff at that event instead of at Gamescom, which, maybe you get that. It's Activision's biggest event. They make that call, right? The weekend of Gamescom, you have Insomnia, whatever, I-63 or whatever it is now, which is like the biggest one in the UK. Mm-hmm. So you've now eliminated all your UK YouTubers from coming to your show. Mm-hmm. Takes a ton of hype out. People are going to go there. Razor's there. All these other people are there. So now you got Razor has to have 2 booths. Then you got the biggest esport finals in the world, which is Dota's, which is like $25 million that weekend. So it's like there's like 5 things going on. Yeah, so it just felt like there were 5 things going on, and you got the short end of the stick.
And I feel like the company saw that coming, so everyone announced everything last week.
Yeah.
Not last week because last week at Gamescom. The week before Gamescom, it was where all the announcements came from, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Oh, there's nothing here at Gamescom. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I understand. Yeah. Some cool gameplay video. Like, I mean, Biomutant, we were talking about earlier, that they showed off like 24 minutes of that game, which was cool.
Looks great.
It does look good. It looks really interesting.
Very, very interesting that it seems like both Biomutant and Cyberpunk 2077, both of them single-player games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very, like, because you continually heard people just complain for like 3 years, like, oh, everything's multiplayer, I want single-player stuff. And it's like, we get these two single-player gems, and it's like, I don't want to say they're under the radar, because Cyberpunk is very far from under the radar. But it's like,
definitely is.
Biomutant I definitely think is. But it's one of those things where it's like, that's not emphasized enough. Like, this is a single-player massive game.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you want.
Biomutant looks to me like if you were to take Crash Bandicoot, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, age them up for the people who grew up with them today, and then build it into this more mature, incredibly large open world.
Fused with Borderlands.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Commentator felt so much like Borderlands in that little gameplay thing. Felt so good. I just love the dialogue. It was like if that dude with that same like charisma was like the permanent host of the History Channel or National Geographics or any of those. Oh my God, I'd watch the crap out of it.
Ratings up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, overall, lots of cool stuff, lots of interesting things. I think there's a well smattering of videos and gameplay trailers, so that way you can go and see anything that you're interested in. But overall, I felt underwhelmed by the event.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm going to wait now after I got your recap. And I'm going to go look at the things I want to look at.
Cyberpunk 2077.
It's almost like I could have just listened to this and I'd have gotten all the information I needed.
It's almost like next year you can just listen to us again. We'll be here.
Player cards right will be there.
So that's all I have. And Marky Poo, you didn't have a topic again. Sorry, are you topic-less?
Yeah. No, I guess I don't know. What do you guys have planned for the year? I mean, I know you have big plans coming this year, but what else do you have planned for the year?
I'm going to his big plan.
Platinuming Guacamelee 2, eventually.
That's the big plan.
That's the big
I
plan.
was about to say the biggest plan of this table is about to go to the eye of the storm, as some would say.
Yeah.
Hopefully that eye of the storm is gone. That would be great.
The
We all hope for
slowest
that.
moving hurricane in history.
I don't know what's up with this year, but apparently this is the year of weddings. So I got another wedding to go out in California, and I get to hop over to Hawaii and
Wiki Hawaii.
oh yeah, for a whole week, man. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
First
great.
time ever
that
going.
Lazy River sounds pretty dope, by the way.
Oh yeah, by the way, this lazy river goes into a tunnel system.
That's cool.
Yeah, it like so
terrifying,
in the
but
cane
awesome.
fields they had all this irrigation like carved out, and now they just use it for tubes because they don't use it for cane fields anymore.
That's cool.
And
That
you can go through
sounds
like
terrifying.
whole tunnel and cave systems. It's supposed to be really sweet.
Yeah, it's not been bad this year at all, has it?
Complete,
Nope, I'm gonna have plenty of water to go down those tubes.
complete and utter segue. I was reading about how they're going back to like the original crops of the area in Hawaii, and they're getting rid of all like the sugar and cane and stuff, and how it's holding everything together. It's very interesting. It's on earther.com, I think, is the website.
Earther.
Well, the island I'm staying on, Kauai, is actually the least developed, so it's the most natural.
That's
so
cool.
we're gonna be like seeing the waterfalls, going for large hikes. It's gonna be really cool.
That's dope.
Yeah,
What you
well,
got planned?
I was gonna give my real answer, which is
Oh.
wedding and then honeymoon to the UK and Ireland. Finally happening.
Sounds awesome, man.
So 2.5 weeks gone out of the States.
I thought you
very
were going to
excited.
say away. I was like, I don't think that's right. I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm trying to plan some trips right now. I'm thinking about going to the old Vegas for Call of Duty event.
Very cool.
Thinking about going to New York for a Counter-Strike event. Recursive trend here. I'm going to Atlanta for certain for a
When's the COD
Dreams
event?
Act. December, first week of December.
Man, that's
Yeah.
too much.
I
A
mean,
little bit
welcome to
later, I'd totally be there.
that. I think it's like 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th or something like that.
Yeah, well, I might be doing something later that month, so I
Oh.
might have to.
Just let me know. And then we're going on our hiking excursion of near death
Oh
coming
yeah,
up. Stay
All right,
tuned.
survival tryouts.
I wish I could be there.
not me. I would die.
I've got things I
Well,
got to
you're
do.
fine.
Yep.
You might be back.
I'll
We-
see what happens.
We can lure you to go.
Yeah.
Put a.
Is that the
Whatever.
one where the Marine dies? And
Oh no, that's whitewater rafting. trip.
okay,
That's later in the month.
yeah.
That's also gonna be scary.
Yeah.
Hey man, you're not living life until you feel scared.
Yeah.
Once again, this has been Strange Conversations, where we gather together every week to discuss with you guys what we view as important,
Stuff.
what we want to talk about, and just to hang out with each other and you.
Have a good old time. Chit chat.
Don't forget that down in the comments, there's the description. There's going to be where all the information. Dylan's going to pop it in there because he edits all the way. Look at that. See, it's there. Just now. You watched this
Close enough.
entire video. They're not there. They just appeared. And don't
hold
forget
it,
to
Brent.
hit us up on Twitter. I'm always open to having conversations and talking with individuals. It's a lot of fun. And until next week, aim for the bushes.
Aim for the bushes.
That was a hard hit.
Yeah.
That was a hard bone on bone.
Very
I mean,
meaty.
I mean, look at those knuckles.
Yeah.
They really get you.